All right. Welcome to Sideboard MTG. My name's Eric, and we're going to be doing a little something different tonight. We've got the Wizard sponsored streamer event coming up tomorrow, as you guys can see from the thumbnail there. We're going to be starting this out at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So for those of you that are in Central Time Zone like myself, that's going to be 10 o'clock in the morning. We're going to start streaming, and we've got a ton of decks to play. We've got a lot of ideas that have all been sent by you guys. But I wanted to go over some of those decks and some of those brews and ideas and stuff. And I wanted to do that with the community. So we're going to be doing that tonight. We're going to be pulling up all of these decks and looking at them. Some will be changed, some will be kept as they are. Others may not get played at all, but we are going to be we're going to be looking at all of those decks and those brews tonight. So hope you guys are ready for that. Thank you all for joining me. And well, let's get to it. Alright, so I am going to be using Aether Hub, and I do have a few of these decks pulled up already. We're going to go through the ones I currently have pulled up, and then after we go through those, we'll start pulling them. I've already got all the ones from the Reddit downloaded, so we'll just pull those and start moving those over to Aether Hub. Once we get those to Aether Hub, we'll go through and make adjustments or talk about the deck, and then move on to the next deck and pull it. Once I get everything in Aether Hub, I can pretty much get it into MTG Arena in the morning. If you guys are trying to deck build, Aether Hub already will let you use all of the new cards. MTG Goldfish will also do the same thing. Both of those are the easiest way for me to get the decks to the easiest way for me to get the decks from where they are to Arena, so that's why I'm going to be using MTG Goldfish or Aether Hub. When everything's said and done, though, I will post my link to the list of decks, so if you guys want to come look at them, they're all going to be public, so you can public. All right, some Ron White joke. Anyway, you guys will be able to come look at those decks and see what we've got on the agenda for tomorrow. So first off, we're going to start off with a blue-white Flyers deck here. We're going to kind of glance at this deck and see what we think. It does contain 6 cards from 6 invalid cards. They're only invalid 4 now, but Fairy Miscreant, Warden of Evos Isle, Empyrean Eagle. Looks like we got some M20 planes, M20 islands, and Leyline of Sanctity, so maybe not 6, but whatever. Alright, so this is a Flyers deck, and I think Madness is... did I get your updates for the Teamer Dinosaur list? Probably not, but I'll pull it again. We'll find out. So since this is a Flyers deck, 4 favorable wins. Let's look at it here in the visual, all right, or the gallery. There we go. That's so much better, isn't it? I wish I could just pull up one card. All right, can we do that? All right, so for tomorrow, we're not going to be worried about sideboard, so main board only, so we don't have to go in and worry about any of the sideboards or anything. Everything is only going to be best of 1 draft and sealed. I think we can only do draft at like a certain time of the day. I'll have to check on that and go from there. But so for 1 drops in this deck, we've got Fairy Miscreant, which is 1 mana. Enters the battlefield. If you control another creature named Fairy Miscreant, you get to draw a card. We've got Healer's Hawk, Flying Lifelink. We've got Siren Storm Tamer, which it's notable that it's a pirate and a wizard. So you can sacrifice it to counter a spell that targets you or a creature you control. Favorable wins as a 2-drop, along with Warkite Marauder as a 2-drop. A couple other 2-drops in the deck are actually Warrant and Warden. Warrant is put target attacking creature on top or bottom. Top of its owner's library. Man, if it was bottom, it'd be so much better. Then we can also use the backside of that to make a 4/4 white and blue Sphinx creature token with flying. So that's not too bad. So it is a 5 mana 4/4, which, you know, if we've got a favorable winds, it could be a 5 mana 5/5. So we can make this bigger. Anyway, so Empyrean Angel, this is our Empyrean Eagle, is one of the new cards that are in the deck. This comes in at the 3 mana slot. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 and fly. Other creatures you control with flying get +1/+1. So that's not too bad, and it's a 2/3 for 3. I mean, not the best thing on the curve as far as, you know, like just natural body goes, but it having evasion and the Anthem effect, I'll take it. Warden of Evos Isle, creatures with flying you cast cost 1 less to cast. That makes all of these Warkite Marauders only cost 1. That makes other Empyrean Eagles and things only cost 2. Additional Wardens of Evos Isle will only cost 1 if you got, 2 if you get another one down. Then, you know, everything only costs 1, which is pretty sweet. I guess we need to say that, you know, 4 Sphinx of Foresight, working kind of like the ley lines do. If you have it in the beginning of your opening hand, you get to do something special, and that something special is Scry 3, making sure that we kind of get to start the game off right. So, yeah, the time got pushed back due to a late Sunday nap. That, you know, whatever. Is there any flying creature that, like, we're missing here? I mean, this deck looks pretty solid as is, so I kind of just want to ship it and move on to the next one. This looks pretty decent. Like, it's definitely worth, you know, throwing at the unformed meta and see what happens. Ghostman says, "Yo, Eric, you'll post a deck tomorrow, but you'll let me choose what card I'll build the deck around." Okay, so if I pick an M20 deck, you'll build around it and post a deck. Oh, if that's the deal there, Ghostman, let me know. I pick a card and you build around it. Is that how it works? Azor. Ooh, Azor. Do we want Azor in the main board though? I mean, is that something you would want? Like, so the largest creature in the entire main board is a 4-drop, and the deck's only running 22 lands. I think if we get into like something like Azor, we're not going to really have the mana for it, right? So I pick a card. That new construct that it's like 5 mana, and it's a legendary, and it's got all the colors on the bottom of it there. I forget what it is. All right, here, hold on. We go set, core set M20. Colourless. Let's search like that. Like, there's a few cards that I really want to see. Waiting on these to load. Come on. Everyone's using Aether Hub. Yes. Golos. That's the one. That's the one. I want you to build around that. If you're going to build a deck around any card that I choose, Golos is going to be. Where's he at? It's not on here. We have another page. Why don't I see Golos? Why didn't it show up in the M20 colorless? Oh, because he's not colorless. That's right. I selected colorless, and he's technically all 5 colors. All right. Is that how you spell his name? Barry Drake, thank you very much. Barry says, glad to see you all. Hope you are all doing well. Sorry to interrupt. You are not interrupting anything, sir. Thank you very, very much. Maybe I don't know how to spell goals. Like I assume this is it though. The one color. You got my meaning though, right? The build around this craziness, and I will be thankful for it, sir. Golos. All right, we got it here, and he knows which card we're talking about. There it is. It is just Golos. Okay. Tireless Pilgrim. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card, put that card onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library, and then you can pay 2 and you like all the colors. Um, exile the top 3 cards of your library, and you may play them this turn without paying their mana cost, which is pretty cool, right? Um, Seems interesting. Seems like there's a combo just waiting to happen right there with, like, I don't know, maybe Chromatic Lantern and like Omniscience. This might be part of the Flood Omniscience combo, which is a deck that I'm going to be working on later tonight. Is the Flood Omniscience combo deck. Haven't really seen many people like brewing around that. So actually, if you want to brew your version of the Flood Omniscience combo and put this in there, go for it. But that's going to be my major brew there. That and I want to spend a lot of time on the Elementals deck. I think the Elementals deck is like severely pushed, and I really want to get behind that deck. Mr. Barry Drake, by the way, do you have any card from the new set that you would like to see a deck played with? Chromatic Lantern with Zakama, right? There you go. Like some craziness. All right, so let's get back over to the blue-white flyers. Because we're only at 22 land, I don't want to add anything bigger into this deck. It's possible that the deck would fit better with some kind of like spirits build, but we do have a spirits build coming up. That you would be able to get even more anthems out of the deck because of, like the spirits have flying. You would have the Supreme Phantom, which is another spirit. So possibly a spirits build would also work with all the flying creatures, but then again, maybe not. I will say that the Empyrean Eagle is a bird spirit, so that's not too bad. However, the Warden of Evos Isle is not. So I don't know. I do know that you start making Healer's Hawks and Siren Storm Tamers and Fairy Miscreants into 2/2s and 3/3s and things like that. Yeah. Flood of Tears, Omniscience looks hilarious. Yeah, doesn't it though? Like, we're gonna return everything. I'll slap the Omniscience back down on the battlefield, and yeah, then I'm just gonna replay everything. And if you've got a Tameo in that, you get to Tameo bring back the Flood and replay it. So if you've got something else in your hand that allows you to draw cards, you get to do this over and over and over again. Casting Flood from hand, replaying Omniscience, and then replaying everything else, replaying the Tameo, re-down-ticking the Tameo. And you can pretty much play out your whole deck right then and there. I don't know if you could just win the game off of that, or would you have to... Like, you need some way to win the game off of that, and I don't know exactly the best way to do that, but yeah. Sounds filthy. It probably is, man. It if you could get it off, it sounds like it would be just so much fun to do to someone, right? Ping opponent with enter the battlefield triggers. That's it. That's what I'm thinking. Like we've got to have some type of payoff for that deck, right? I think we're just going to ship this deck and keep it as is and move on. So Madness is a pretty sweet little Flyers deck here, and we'll probably do good tomorrow when we're just slamming it against the meta, the unformed meta. We've also got a Simic Ramp deck here. let's take a look at this. Alright, so we'll jump back over to the gallery. Alright, so the Simic Ramp deck's a lot like a lot of the Simic Ramp decks that we've been playing in the past here. Land of War Elves into, Incubation Druid. We've got Nissa, who shakes the world. She says that whenever a creature whenever one of your forest taps for mana, you can make an extra green mana. This deck has a Leyline of Abundance in it, so if we have a Leyline of Abundance on the battlefield, a Nissa's Forest will tap for 3 mana because of Leyline saying that if a creature taps for mana, it taps for, an extra mana. We can also pay 8 to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control and pump our entire board, which is pretty cool. Since we're going to have tons of mana, we want good mana sinks, and Hydras are pretty sweet. So we've got Hydroid Cthis as our Jellyfish Hydra Beast, and we've got a Voracious Hyena, right? I made that like the Hydra. Which is trample and enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it, and then when it enters the battlefield you can either double the number of counters on it, or you can have it fight target creature that you don't control, which we can either use it as removal, or we can use it for just to have a really big beater and say, get some or get dead, right? Now this deck does have Kiora in it, and I actually was thinking that this deck could, instead of Kiora, which I know Kiora will untap like the Land of War Elves and allow you to tap the Land of War Elves again, giving you even more ramp. But Kiora is the one card in this deck that I didn't really like. There's a couple other things you could put in this 3 mana slot. One of those being like Climb. Hadana's Climb would probably be pretty good. So Kiora is there for untapping. Yeah, I kind of figured that. Being able to untap a creature or something like that seems pretty good. It's going to be rare that we ever actually, bring a 4-powered creature into the battlefield to draw a card, so I'm not really worried about that part of Kiora. So you think you're going to make an elemental list for every wedge of the Teamer Pie? How many wedges do you have in the Teamer Pie there? Yeah, Hadana's Climb was the card that I thought of in that spot. I think that it is just more, output or throughput. Just getting into your opponents there. What's up, Robert? You can untap an attacking creature to give it vigilance. You can untap a creature that attacked to give it vigilance, but I don't know about untapping one that's currently attacking. Kiora, her ability is still sorcery speed, so yeah, Climb's the one that I thought would fit into the spot. But then again, that's another enchantment. Like, we don't want to have a turn where we go, like turn 1 Land of War Elves, turn 2 Climb, turn 3 like Leyline. We do not want to go down that line, just because we will not be actually doing anything to the battlefield. Also, putting 1/1 counters with Climb onto things like Growth Chamber Guarding, or using Climb to increase the counters on something like Incubation Druid to turn Incubation Druid on sounds really good as well. So I'm pretty fond of all of those ideas. I also like the Little Vivian in these type decks. Being able to use Little Vivian to cast some of these spells at instant speed is pretty sweet. Even casting like an Incubation Druid at the end of turn, casting a huge Hydroid Cthis as our opponent's like swinging in. We've already got a little bit of flash with our Frilled Mystics and things like that. I also think that this deck's going to win most of its games just riding off the back of Nissa, right? You just play Nissa and go from there, which sounds pretty sweet. So this is definitely one of the decks we've got for tomorrow, and I'm interested in see how Leyline of Abundance actually performs. I also think that Thrashing Brontodon is going to be extremely powerful, especially for tomorrow, because I think a lot of people are going to be playing, some jank artifacts or enchantments or something like that, and yeah. This deck does aggressively mulligan, does it? Can't we test that? How do we test that? How do I go back a view? Let's see here. Let's go back from the gallery and simulation on this. Does it? All right. So in this hand we got island. All right. So let's mulligan. All right. So this hand we got Land of War Elves, Incubation, Druid, Hydra. So we can turn 1 Elf, turn 2 Incubation, Druid, turn 3 have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Hydra for like a 6/6 Hydra on 3. Doesn't sound horrible, right? Like you just bring it in for the +1/+1 counters and get the extra counters and go with this like, oh, it'd be a 6/7 Hydra. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. Like, yeah, there is we are supposed to have the London Mulligan rule tomorrow. I've also got a sheet that I'll be able to talk to you guys a little bit more about, frequently asked questions sheet that Wizards of the Coast gave us, so that we can address some questions and things like that in case you guys have questions about, you know, the new set, the mastery system, some other things. So you guys are going to see a whole lot of things tomorrow. The new mastery system is going to be part of it. Basically, you're going to be able to purchase a mastery pass and unlock a lot of cosmetics. We've got the elemental cat. If you guys remember, months and months back, I said that if Wizards would put in pets and card sleeves, that it would do a lot to help people personalize their accounts, and they would connect more to their collection on MTG Arena. Well, they finally did it. We're going to be getting our first pet in MTG Arena. It's an elemental cat. You can click on it to change its color from any of the base 5 colors. As you level up through your mastery pass at level 40 and then again at level 80, your cat will evolve from common to uncommon to rare, which will give your elemental cat a little bit of a different appearance. So you'll be able to look at your opponent and tell how far into the deck they are, or into the progression of that. The mastery passes are going to run from set to set, so while a block is relative, will be the time that you have to complete the mastery pass. Mastery passes are going to be 3,600 gems, and over the course of that pass, you will actually gain 2,000 of those gems back, along with 5,000 gold. I'm trying to remember everything else. I think you'll earn 30 orbs over the course of it, which is what you'll use to unlock the rest of your pass. This season's going to have Chandra card sleeves. We're going to have exquisite Chandra card sleeves. The Chandra Flames Fury artifact, I think it's Flames Fury, is going to be one of the new avatars that you can select. All of these will be unlockable through the pass. You will be able to progress on the pass even though you have not purchased it, so that if later in the block you do purchase it. Zaxadillo, hi chat, you're here for a single minute. All right, man, take care, Zax. If you do purchase the battle pass or the pass, the mastery pass, throughout the course of the event, any rewards that you had previously unlocked will immediately be unlocked for you. So things like that. Gonna have to get this pass. Yeah, it's we see it in a lot of games, right? There's also, apparently there's going to be some XP boosts that you can buy via gems to help you get through the pass a little bit quicker. Like most games, you'll also be able to purchase additional level ups. So if you're someone who didn't get a chance to put enough time into it and unlock all the levels of your pass, and you do want to unlock it, there is that option that you can throw money at Wizards. Wizards, take my money. And you can throw money at Wizards to unlock your battle pass and complete it that way. So if the end goal, if the object to win is to complete your battle pass, then there is going to be a pay to win feature, so you can just buy your way through that if you want. Hit draw, so you can sort of simulate a London Mulligan. Okay. Alright, so when we put one of these islands back, and we still have the same cards, then our first card of the It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, we could actually play a Growth Chamber Guardian on turn 3 and activate it in the same turn. That wouldn't be too bad. So that would be our first draw. Second draw. Ooh, ho, ho, ho. You never want to draw that second one. Yeah, that gets brutal, right? All right. So anyway, let's jump back over here. The deck looks pretty sweet. I'm okay with this one as well. Kiora is the only one that I'm not 100% fond of, but Kiora's fine. All right, so we've got a Simic Ramp deck. This one here is this one was pretty cool. This was Death Touch, Vampires, Sorin's Vampires, Baraska's Vampires. I actually like this one. This one's by J. Clay, Justin Clay. A lot of you guys know him here in chat. So the idea here is that we're gonna have a bunch of vampires, right? Pitiless Pontiff, Vampire Cleric, which you can pay 1, sacrifice another creature, and it gains Death Touch and Indestructible until end of turn. We can sacrifice cards like Sky Marcher Aspirant, or even the little token off of Legion's Landing. For the most part, we'll be able to get some of those back. We'll be able to throw some vampires down onto the battlefield with the Imperious Bloodlord. Now, personally, I really wanted to see the little 2-mana Dusk Legion Zealot in this deck. We don't have any Dusk Legion Zealot in this deck. We've got the Vampire of the Dire Moon, though, which is Death Touch Lifelink 1/1. Just getting in there is going to be pretty sweet. But whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player or planeswalker, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. That's pretty sweet. So that's kind of the idea here. We get a bunch of Death Touch vampires down, and then Vraska Swarm's Eminence starts making them bigger and bigger and bigger. So you thought about Dusk Legion? See, I just wanted Dusk Legion because I want something that I can get even more value out of Sorin's like second +1 ability, where we can just sack it. So we draw a card when it enters the battlefield, then we sack it to Lightning Helix something. You are going to need ways to get some vampires back or something of that nature, due to the fact that you're going to want to sack vampires. But then again, we've got Modern Fane Dusk Apostle, which is pretty good because every time we attack with a non-token vampire, we're going to be able to make another token. So yeah. You don't think Swarm's Eminence is worth it in Vamps? Maybe not. I mean, you might be right. This is definitely a brew around Vamps. But why don't we have the 4-mana Sorin in here is my question. Like, 4-mana Sorin seems so good. Like, how are we giving Adanto lifelink, right? Target creature you control gains Death Touch and lifelink until end of turn. So this is how we're giving him lifelink. If it's a vampire, we put a +1/+1 counter on it. So every time we plus Sorin, we're going to put a 1/1 counter on like Adanto Vanguard. Then he swings for 4 with Death Touch and lifelink, and if you have a Swarm's Eminence out, he gets another +1/+1 counter, or you just make him indestructible. That alone seems pretty good. Like, that seems really good. That seems good enough that I don't know if I even care about Pitiless Pontiff, but Pitiless Pontiff fits the Death Touch theme. So basically a big portion of this deck just doesn't work if you don't have a Sorin. So if we can't keep Sorin on the battlefield, then a lot of our creatures are just never going to get any value off of Swarm's Eminence. So I can see where Madness is coming from with not liking Swarm's Eminence here. Sorin himself, like the 3-mana Sorin paired with a 4-mana Sorin, may be enough, right? That may be enough to get the job done without even worrying about something like Swarm's Eminence. But However, if our little 1/1 black assassins start doing damage, that's pretty sweet too. So, oh my God, this is isn't there a mono black burn deck that still runs mostly vampires? Oh boy, you have a spicy new idea. Get to brewing. Get to brewing. Go 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 go. We need this idea in deck form. Put them in deck form. I've got a post up over on the Reddit. You can post it there. And then towards the end of the stream, I'll go pull all of those decks, and we'll go from there. So, like this tonight is brewing, but I'm also not going to change a ton of the decks. I just basically want to, like showcase some of the decks that we've got going. I needed to spend some time in front of the computer pulling these decks and getting these decks ready anyway, so I figured I would do that live here with you guys. So, should you get to posting it now? Doesn't matter. I mean, you got to brew it, right? So, like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you want to go brew now or you want to hang out, like, whatever you want to do. But yeah, don't just let that one slide by, because I actually like the idea of mono black burn. Mono black burn with vamps and Sorin seems just so good. Isn't that like the Fell Spectre deck? We have a version of like that Fell Spectre deck coming up. So, but yeah. All right, so let's. I like the idea of this, and I get that it really does need Sorin to work. I also just think that Vraska Swarm's Eminence could probably just be 4 mana Sorin, and so yeah. All right. Next deck on the agenda. Looks like you know what deck of yours you need to revisit then. Oh, see, that's the thing, is I don't even remember whose deck is which on most of these, which is sad. I mean, I could go back and look, but I'm sorry. All right, let's there's like you guys have only seen the tip of the iceberg. Much more lies deep beneath. All right, so I'm already into this. This is some God's willing stuff here. I've also got to pull my my the elementals deck. I've got to finish brewing it, and then I'm working on a Naya feather deck that I've got to finish up. But I think the Naya feather deck's actually got a lot of merit to it. So anyway, God's willing, along with some cast down. We've got a Johnny's Pride Mate. We got Bishop of Wings. Bishop of Wings. Whenever an angel enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life. Whenever an angel you control dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. This is pretty sweet. I wanted to run this with the Divine Visitation, right? This way, like, we could just keep making angels over and over and making a ton of life. The card's pretty sweet, though. Resplendent Angel, that's exactly what we're looking for. Like, I mean, if we can gain 1 point of life somewhere else, so how do we gain that extra point of life? Cast 2 angels in the same turn? This is just such a non-bow, man. Like, you need to gain 5 mana or 5 life with a Resplendent Angel, but this is only going to give us 4 life, so like we need some other way to gain 1 life. Okay, all right. Angel of Vitality, that's a way to do it. If you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1. Ooh. So if you play Angel of Vitality, it will be like you'll Angel enter the battlefield trigger, so this will check itself and you'll automatically gain 5 off of this entering the battlefield. That's not horrible. That's not horrible at all. And it won't take much to get up to 25 life when you're doing this, right? So that's I can get behind that. Loxodon Life Chanter. When Loxodon Life Chanter enters the battlefield, you may have your life total become the total toughness of creatures you control. I don't think I need that for 6 mana. Like I get that that's a card, that's cool and all, but I don't think that that's what I want in this deck. I would rather have Divine Visitation in those 2 slots instead of this 6 mana 4/6 that might help. I mean, at that point, like, don't we really just want like a Bishop of Wings or something like that? That being said, do we want a Johnny's Strength of the Pride to make more Johnny's Pride mates, or do we want something like a Sorin just to give us lifelink on all of our creatures and to give us a way to get back our bishops or our Resplendent Angels? I think Sorin fits better here in this slot, and in all reality, Sorin should probably be here and not run the Divine Visitation. I don't know whose deck this is. Okay, this is actually Madness's deck. This is Madness. How do you feel about us getting rid of the Loxodon Life Chanter for a couple Sorins? Just add Sultai Self Mill for the event. Okay, that sounds fun. If I do want to swap something else, by all means, change it. You're not big on it either anymore. Okay. Then I'm actually going to change this Life Chanter to 4 mana Sorin here really quick. So let's I think we go back over to edit. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So God's Willing is good though. I just don't know if I want 4 God's Willing. Like, does this deck want to run 4 Dive Down? Or would 3 do the job? Alright, so I'm getting rid of the 2 Life Chanters, and then we're going to look for Sorin, not Lord of Innistrad. Is it Vengeful Bloodlord? Yeah, it's Vengeful Bloodlord, isn't it? So if we add 2 Vengeful Bloodlords to the deck, yeah, that's the one. Now we've got another 4-drop, and it's a 4-drop that not only like plays with the background of everything. Yeah, I agree. You also just get the Scry just to help keep going with God's Willing, which is pretty sweet. I think Sorin fits better in this slot. I really do. Just because of the lifelink, and like, so now all of our creatures, like the Johnny's Pride Mate has lifelink, things like that, which is pretty good. We can get, you know, a Johnny's Pride Mate back from the graveyard if we want to. We can get other angels back from the graveyard. We can get our little token generator dude back from the graveyard. So, yeah, I like Sorin here. Prison Realm. Prison Realm enters the battlefield. Exile target creature or planeswalker opponent controls until Prison Realm leaves the battlefield and enters. You also get to scry 1, so that's not bad. I actually think this is about the only change we're going to make to this deck. I kind of like where we're at here too, so we'll move on beyond this one. Alright, so next we've got this Abzan Cthis deck. I want to say this is like Sir Eccles or maybe Dragonlord. It's this might be Sir Eccles deck. All right, so right off the bat, it is a Hero of Precinct 1 deck, but it's also a Cthis deck. All right, so Cthis legendary spells you cast 1 less to cast. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Exile 2 legendary cards from our graveyard until end of turn. Each legendary card in our graveyard gains, you may play this card from your graveyard. So for the price of 2 legendaries, we can start casting legendaries from the graveyard. Okay. I don't think we've got enough legendary permanents to make that work. I mean, we've got Borrasco Golgari Queen, we've got Liliana, we've got Tristani Discordant, we've got Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord, which he alone is a good way to bring things back. But Assassin's Trophy doesn't help. Hero Precinct 1 doesn't help. Knight of Autumn doesn't help. Midnight Reaper doesn't help. Seraph of the Scales doesn't help. So Command the Dreadhorde's also like not helping in that aspect. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 total. I don't know. You'd cut 2 Assassin's Trophies and the Midnight Reapers at least for some legendary stuff. I definitely want to cut a couple trophies, or maybe a Knight of Autumn and a couple trophies to get like at least 3 more spots. That would take us up to 19. I don't know if that's enough, but what would you bring in? Like what legend? Like you want to bring in something cheap on the lower end of the converted mana costs, or lower end of the scale. So, do we have any new cards that are legendary that would let's see here. Alright, so let's go legend, wait for it, dairy. And we do want to be in Abzan colors, right? Let's see what we've got in M20. Although I'll need to have red mana to play him, so never mind. Aid the Fallen over the whole Cthis plan. I get that. I get that the Cthis plan may not even actually be that good. So maybe not. I don't know. The Cthis plan could be horrible. It really could. It could just not be enough. But we want to try, like, that's kind of what we're doing tomorrow, right? We're kind of slamming all these decks against the unformed meta and seeing what felt strong versus what didn't feel strong. So you think Cthis may be the trap? Cthis may be the trap right now, but then again, he may be pretty broken here in the next couple sets. You just, like, if we get a couple decent legendaries, then maybe. I mean, yeah, we'll see. Alright, so what other options do we have at throwing in this deck? Oh, Gyarados. We could run Gyarados, right? I'd exile some other stuff just to play Gyarados again. I know, Gargos, but I'm probably still going to call him Gyarados. There's no real point in playing him, though, right? Like, we don't have other Hydras. So, yeah. Not a lot of legends in this. Do we have any legendary artifacts we could play? We lose the legendary sorceries upon rotation. That's right. We could do. Ooh, we could do like Yawgmoth's Will, right? All in favor for calling the new Hydra legendary Gyarados? I. When I first seen it, I was like, oh, Gyarados. Gargos. Mox Amber, the coaster. Yeah. So pull your coasters out, guys. Grab those Mox Ambers. Mox Amber actually might be relevant. I think if I was going to do some type of legend deck, I would probably also be on like some type of Tishar theme, but you know, that's just me. I'm a big fan of the Tishar card. Tishar would be 4 mana, and that would every time you cast a legendary creature or something of that nature, you'd be triggering Tishar, and you would also get another one of your 3 mana or less. Like, so you'd get like either a Knight of Autumn, a Hero of Precinct 1. Like we have no legendary permanents on the lower end of the spectrum. So, and we've got no way to actually put things in the graveyard. So, I don't know. Like, is Cthis even worth playing? I know, like, we all want to see this work, but nah. You'd rather have Naya Legends. Yeah, but Cthis is in Abzan colors, right? You kind of want to build a Renee Naya good stuff deck, maybe. What does Renee do again? Other multicolored creatures you control get +1/+0 whenever another multicolored creature you control dies. Return it to the battle, or return it to the owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. That's not horrible. You don't want to see this work. I don't see us ever getting any value out of Cthis, which makes me not really like him. But for that matter, I'll pay 3 mana for a 3/4, right? Like, how much value are you getting to just pay 3 mana for a 3/4, and then the next turn, like on turn 4 without ramp, you're still playing something like Tristani? That's pretty decent. I mean, he is ramp, so I get having everything beyond Cthis all of a sudden, you know, be legendary. So that's not horrible. I just don't know where to go with the Cthis deck. Like, the card just really hasn't impressed me very much. Like, I mean, first off, you've got to have 2 legendary cards in your graveyard to even be able to turn on playing all of your other legendaries from the graveyard. So, if there was mana decrease was 2, he'd be more playable. See, again, I don't even think that would help. Tristani, Ravager Worm, etc. Is Ravager Worm. Alright, Knight of Autumn, Gruul Spellbreaker. Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying with the multicolored spells and stuff like that. You're still on the Renee Naya good stuff brew there. Maybe legendary self-mill, right? Maybe. The Cthis deck looks interesting. I mean, I guess we can just play it and see how well it plays out. And is this just like late game engine? Is it even worth a spot? Like, I don't know. But I do think that we've got enough like power in the deck, just being a Hero Precinct 1 deck, that you can probably win some games. So, out of M20 cards, there's no real, hey, I really want to bring this in and try to make this work kind of thing, which is sad, right? That's very sad. So if we go back to the search engine here, legendary. Go on, Aether Hub. You can do it for me. You can do it, Aether Hub. You can do it. You want to try Sultai Self-Mill with Tamiyo and Jace. So, what are we self-milling for is my question. Like, just curious. Like, what are we... So that's Allegiance, and then we've got guilds, we've got M19, Dominaria, Rivals of Ixalan. Wow, all of these sets have come out since Ixalan last year. It's crazy. Just a ton of sets. Alright, so let's do a serious, like, let's look at all the legends. You put Jace in your Sultai self-mill you just posted a minute ago. So is that the idea, is to use Jace, self-mill yourself all the way out? I love these Japanese arts. They're so cool. Karn fits. He's legendary. Mox Amber's legendary. That's playable. Of course, any of the Ajani's. Do we have a Johnny in here? No Ajani. All right. So I think we're actually trying to do multiple things, being a hero of Precinct 1 and being a Cthis deck. And I think the deck should actually pick one or the other. Because restricting ourselves only to legendaries that are multicolored, like, really shoots us in the foot, right? Like, we're really restricting ourselves hardcore there. If we want to be a Cthis deck and we want to try to make Cthis, then we can go a different route, and that route's probably not a Hero Precinct 1 route. So, and I sadly, I kind of want to scrap this deck just because the deck is on multiple fronts. Like, it's using multiple brewing restrictions. One of those brewing restrictions being Hero Precinct 1, where the other brewing restriction is wanting all legendaries, and they clearly don't fit really well together. I don't know. So, let's see. What else do we have available? There's Lincoln. You really need to get an anime version of your girl Kiora. Is there an anime version of Kiora? Is there? What other cheap legendaries are there? We don't want Growing Rights of Itlimoc, but that is a good card to be able to play multiple times. Ronus would probably be a good legend, especially one that you could bring back. Alright. Journey to Eternity seems great in a Brontodon deck. You got Azor's Gateway, that's legendary. That would also let you look for some more stuff. However, that's not putting things in the graveyard, that's exiling them. So we're already running Sorin and Tristani. Legion's Landing is a legendary that would fit in colors. Vivian, Champion of the Wilds, would also fit in colors. Is that Swarm's Eminence in Japanese art? That is so cool. That is so cool. Alright, there's your Kiora. Is that that's the Japanese art Kiora, right? Behemoth Beckoner. And here he looks awesome. Japanese art's so cool. Even the Wanderer looks cool. Look at this. Oh, Vivian's Arcbow is legendary. That's also another thought, right? Like, if you wanted a Vivian's Arcbow, like, you could probably just have an entire toolbox deck going on there. Tessa Karlov's not bad. Profane Procession's legendary, and that's removal, right? May or may not want to play that, but that's actually a really good piece of removal that a lot of people have forgotten about. Modern Fane, if we did end up with more vampires, it's probably not that bad. Massacre Girl fits in the legendary theme. Also would end up putting a lot of things in the graveyard for you. Don't know if you would really want that or not, but whatever. He's an elf, so if you did go on some type of elf theme or something like that, Marwyn fits. Yawgmoth Vow Offering. See, Yawgmoth is one of the ones I was talking about earlier. Zareth. These are all really good. Zareth, Argyle's Bloodfast, and Mara. These are all cheap legendaries that would fit the bill. I don't know if I would want to go with Tomic, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Lands on the battlefield and land cards in your graveyard can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent Your opponent can't play land cards from graveyards. Okay, yeah, I don't think that has much to do with anything. Tashara being legendary is not really bad. Plus, playing all these other legendaries after starts bringing things back with Tashara, which is pretty sweet. Like, since we're doing the legendary thing, this might actually be the perfect place for the Druidic Vow. Look at the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of land and or legendary permanent cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest into your graveyard. This would also feed the graveyard, so yeah. Oh, do they give you a code that makes all the cards available to you as a streamer? No. They give you your a special account that we have to log into. So you have to we have to download a separate version of the client, and then I'm not even going to be playing on Arena tomorrow. I'm going to be playing on MTG Arena VIP, which is it's just their VIP client that think of it as a public test server, like you see a lot of PTSs in other games and things like that, which they're running a separate version. This is the client that they're probably using for most of their testing. I think it's the client they use for a lot of the sponsored events and things like that. So it's a completely different client, but it will be fully functional. We'll have some features that are currently not available yet for everyone else, and we'll talk about those as we get to unveil them tomorrow. But yeah, so they give us that. Yeah, we download a separate client that goes to separate servers, private servers, that on that we have an account on that server that has access to all the cards. So yeah, it's a little bit different. Legendary self-mill with Primeval's Glorious Rebirth would work. Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. Return all legendary permanent cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. How do you get that off though? That'd be broken good. Oh my gosh, the value you could get out of that. That and the Druidic Vow. So I don't remember exactly whose Cthis deck this is, but I'm personally going to scrap this one. If you want to go back and rebuild Cthis, I'm scrapping it on the grounds of it's just another Hero of Precinct 1 deck. And if we really wanted a Cthis deck, I think we could push harder to showcase Cthis. And I don't feel that I'd be showcasing Cthis in this deck, as I kind of just believe this would just be another Hero of Precinct 1 deck. So we've played a lot of Hero Precinct 1, so again, whoever's deck this is, no offense, it's probably extremely functional, right? But I am trying to look for showcasing new archetypes, new things, and we've played so many Hero Precinct 1 decks on this channel. You guys love this card. This is just the kind of card that most of our community likes to brew around. We've played it in Mardu, we've played it in Abzan, we've played it in pretty much every combination that you can put it on. So going to be harder to pull off with Leyline and Grafdiggers in Standard now. Yeah, I'm not really worried about either of those, considering we're playing best of 1 tomorrow, right? I'm not trying to build Standard's next best deck. I'm not even trying to find Standard's next best deck. But what I am wanting to do is to just run everything against this. Everyone's just going to be trying all kinds of crazy stuff tomorrow, and I just want to run things like that against it. So yes, Hero Precinct 1's just a good card. I get it. It is a great card, and like I said, this is probably an absolutely terrific deck. But unfortunately, I'm not going to run it because it's based around Cthis, and I don't believe that it's actually doing the Cthis. I don't believe it's doing Cthis any justice. And I think because cards like Cthis are in the deck, we're also weakening the Hero Precinct 1 thing. the hero precinct 1 thing is weakening the Cthis thing. So like I think the focus of the deck is to split. So that's and there's nothing here. Like, so there's not a single new card in the deck, right? You got Borrasco Golgari Queen, Vengeful Bloodlord, Liliana Dreadhorde General, Oath of Kaya, Command the Dreadhorde, Assassin's Trophy. Like, the only new card in the deck is Cthis. So yeah, it's just all a big non-bow. So like, again, probably a highly functional deck. It just almost seems like it's Abzan Hero with Cthis in for no other reason, right? Is this honestly, Hero is a slightly worse young Pyromancer, and yet still good, right? So I don't know. I don't think I have to explain this deck anymore, so I'm gonna move on here. I think this was the last one of the ones I already had pre-pulled. So I'm gonna back off this this Cthis deck here. So we'll get rid of Cthis, and then we have Blue White Wizards by J Clay again. J Clay gave us a couple sweet ideas. Alright, so this one's, we don't have a lot of new cards in this deck either. This was actually a deck that he sent for Subscriber Sunday. This deck's actually legal right now. It has 0 new cards in it. So this deck was actually, the idea was maybe we can pull it up and add some of the new cards to it. So what I'm going to look for here are some blue-white Wizards to see if they... Wizards doesn't have any 2020 cards. Yeah, right. I got you, J Clay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to do a search for some Wizards, and we're going to see if we can update the Blue-White Wizards list. If there's any cards putting in it, is it even worth playing during the event, or do we just hold it for some other stream? Like, are we going to try to showcase some new archetype, or are we just going to hold it? So, man. I actually just want to be searching. Let's just reset filters. We want the Wizards. Alright, so let's search for some Wizards in Core Set 2020. This is your fun tempo deck that has a good win rate. Right, so if it's already a decent deck and we can update it a little bit and maybe take off a little bit further with it, then why not? I'm sure there's a bird wizard or two floating around in the new set. We definitely want to keep the converted mana cost low, right? Cloud Conceer, the Scholar of Ages, and that's it. Okay. Cloud Conceer is not bad, actually. I mean, you do draw a card when it enters the battlefield. That's not horrible. Warden of Evos Isle. But I don't think we have enough flyers to make that worth it. We've got Scholar of the Ages. Enters the battlefield. Return up to 2 target instant or sorcery cards from our graveyard to our hand. That could be decent, but I'm not paying 7 mana for a 3/3. Right? Like, come on. 7 mana for a 3/3? Get out of here with that. Alright, so there's just not any new Wizards. Alright, Jay. I'm sorry, sir. There's not any new Wizards to... I was going to try to update it and see if we had some cards to put in it, but it looks like there's just nothing. We've got your other deck here, though. That one will definitely make the cut. So I'm gonna peel this one back. Uh-oh. There we go. Alright, so we've got some of those. Now let's look at Is It? This Is It deck here. What is this? Is it Counterburn, maybe? Yeah, let's just call it Counterburn. Alright, so Nib Mizzet Parun, which I actually think's absolutely horrible right now. Like I know a lot of people are on this like ley line of anticipation idea. This one's yours. We've actually got a bunch of yours, Tier 1 Jank. Not all of them are going to make the cut. What's up, Sir Eccles? Welcome back, sir. Sir Eccles, was yours the Cthis deck? Did you build the Cthis deck? Or the Hero of Precinct 1 deck that had Cthis in it? So this is like, is it Flash? Is it Leyline, Instant Speed, Sorceries? Fair enough, but you know Teferi's still a card, right? Sir Eccles, I actually, you may not have been here for it, but I actually decided not to run that card as Cthis was the only new card in the entire deck, and there's not many legendaries in the deck. That deck looks like it's just a Hero Precinct 1 deck that you stuck Cthis in. Like there's not a lot of payoff for Cthis or a lot of payoff for, yeah, there's just not a lot of legendary payoff for that, making that deck basically just a Hero Precinct 1 deck. So I'm gonna send that one back to the drawing board if you don't mind there, sir. Alright, play the ones I like. You just want to see the Dragon Mage deck, right? So, yeah, like, Teferi's still a thing, man. Like, I know that we all want to try this Leyline of Anticipation, and, you know, well, can't play against Teferi all the time. Well, okay, alright, fair enough. I get that. What's the point of instant speed sorceries, though, right? Okay, so instant speed lava coil sounds great. Drawn from Dreams sounds great, right? Like, this card's just amazing. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. So there's a lot of commence the end game. Like, what's our win con here? We get to a Nib Mizzet and then just keep casting spells, trying to draw cards and play at instant speed. So we're expecting not to see Narset or Teferi. That's a pretty big dodge. Oh yeah, the other 2 cards that are supposed to be, the other 2 cards are Expansion, Explosion. They don't seem to come through because of the, yeah. Have I shown your decks yet? I have no clue, Dummy Nation. What deck was yours? Drawn from Dreams on your opponent's end steps almost enough to make me want to like play this deck, right? Just being able to cast that at instant speed's enough to make me just shut up and say, all right, we'll keep it. You know what? Moving on. I want to cast instant speed Drawn from Dreams. The problem is I don't feel like there's enough things in this deck that, like, if I could dig 20 cards deep, if I could grab 2 cards out of the entire deck that I would want, I don't think that there's enough in that deck for me to want to get them. Which is sad, right? Like, what are we going to go get, you know? So if I draw from Dreams, and look at 7 cards deep, what are we getting? I'm going to get a shock or a lightning strike, maybe a coil, burn you, go get more draw, maybe do that. Like, there just doesn't seem to be enough of a win con here. Like, yeah, we're drawing cards and casting spells, but are we just spinning our wheels? I draw 2 cards, and those 2 cards are more draw spells, and then, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where to go from there. Callous Dismissal. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and then a mass one. So, Dirtle. Maybe get into a big mass manipulation, which is actually going to be really hard to do considering we don't have any ramp. Like, I just don't feel that this is enough reason. Like, we don't have anything to go get, right? Just put Gutter Snipe in there. See, now that's a payoff. They're on the subreddit. They're already in the link for tomorrow's playlist. Okay, I'll pull those towards the end of stream. Doesn't Niv Mizzet want you to spin your wheels a little? So, fair enough. Like, so if we can get Niv Mizzet down on turn, then we want to spin our wheels, for sure. Right? Yeah, that fair enough. You do want to spin wheels with Niv Mizzet. So, basically, we have to draw from dreams and hit Niv Mizzet. Like, it's hit Niv Mizzet or keep spinning your wheels till you hit Niv Mizzet. Fair enough. We're gonna go with control. Yeah, we'll call it control. I know I'm gonna piss some people off with this stream just because of the nature of it. Oh, I wanted to rename this. Where's the deck name? Deck description. Where do you change the name at on here? Ah, here we go. Oh, over here, duh, George. Yeah, I figure we've got a lot of quick list. A lot of you guys have built all of these pretty quick, and of course we've not played with any of them. So, again, some people are gonna get mad that, hey, my deck didn't get played, or why didn't, like, I don't know how to please everyone, so we're just gonna pick the decks that we think are the best constructed, and I mean, throw enough stuff at the wall, right? Madness. We will not talk about that. We will not talk about that. Just move on. We're gonna call this Niv Flash. Instant sorcery. Yeah, we're gonna go with, is it instant sorcery, right? It's like mashed potatoes. It's like instant potatoes, only not. Yeah. I'll save that and go from there. All right. Next up on the list, let's go. Looks like we've got Artifact Rampage. This looks interesting. Artifact Rampage. So let's take a look at this one. You liked Yep, but I can't say that word. Anticipatory. I don't know. How you say that? Anticipatory, is it? Whatever. Sparring Construct. I'm sold already. I'm already sold. So this is a Steel Overseer deck. All right. This was definitely one we wanted to see. As Steel Overseer is just a really, really cool card, right? you would like to see a great artifact deck, this could be it. This could be the one, Justin Clay. This could be the one. It's got Thraxos in it, a couple Thraxos. We got some Steel Overseers. We got Sparring Constructs, which, you know, hey, he also likes Sparring Construct. Right? When it dies, you get to put a +1 counter on target creature you control. We've got Steel Overseer, which is the creature. We've got Thraxos, which is also a creature. And then we have some Karn, Scion of Urza, some Saheeli, Sublime Artificers. We've got Tezzeret, and we've got Ugin. So we've got a lot of artifact payoff cards here. Tezzeret being one of the big payoffs. Saheeli being one of the cards that can not only like pay off and like give us, you know, a copy of something like a Steel Overseer that we can put even more +1 counters on, but like just her putting +1 counters on her making like servos and stuff that we can put +1 counters on seems great. I want to know why Master Thopterist is not in this deck. I really believe we need Master Thopterist, but yeah. You for one do not like Sparring Construct. Sparring Construct doesn't like you either, Madness. Well, Sparring Construct just doesn't like you either. Bag of Holding seems like a pretty cool card. Chromatic Lantern, Manifold Key, Mystic Forge. This is pretty cool. Like just having a huge payout. Since we are making a bunch of artifact creatures, you know, we get to run Phyrexian Scriptures with like no downside. Right, so we're just going to put a +1/1 counter on one of our creatures. It's going to become an artifact. It's probably already an artifact. You could do this to like Psy or something like that. That would be great. I think Psy needs to be in this deck. I really think Psy needs to be in this deck. The problem with that is we don't actually have a lot of colored mana, right? Like the deck's got like one forest. We got interplanar beacons to help us cast like multicolored spells. I don't really understand why we've got a reliquary tower. It seems a little unnecessary. I don't know how we're going to cast a Saheeli if we don't hit. Like, where's our basic lands? Like I think we went way too far off the deep end on Colourless. Just because we have like this deck that is so like how the hell are we going to cast a Spell Swindle, right? Like Spell Swindle's in the deck, but I don't understand how we're going to cast it. I mean we can cast it off of Chromatic Lantern, but we've only got 2 Chromatic Lanterns, right? Yeah, so we've only got 2 Chromatic Lanterns, which means if we don't hit the lantern, then we're not going to be able to Phyrexian Scriptures. I mean, we've got the Rampage of the Clans. I like the idea of this deck. I just think that we're possibly on too many colorless lands for not a really good reason. Yeah, it just seems like it's going to be really hard to guarantee that we can hit any of these colored spells. So Phyrexian Scriptures, even Rampage of the Clans, Spell Swindle. You know as well as I do that there's going to be some decks. Anything we can't cast gets discarded to the bag. I don't like that. Maybe I need to cast my board wipe. I don't want to just throw it away and just hope I get it back later. I'm not down for that. Like if I'm going to be running these other spells, then I want to have a way to play them. And to that effect, I don't feel that I need Cryptic Cave enough for that. I don't feel that I need Emergence Zone enough for that. Yes, we can cast spells as though they had flash. Like I don't think this is where I want to be here. As far as the mana base goes, I don't mind the Mobilized District and things like that, but I don't think I want Reliquary Tower. So how much of this can we cut? Like how many of these? All right, let's say we want Arch of Oraskal, we want Blast Zone, right? Let's say we even want Field of That's Field of the Dead. Enters the battlefield. Another land enters the battlefield under your control if you have 7 or more lands with different names. So we just need like a bunch of green blue. Like I don't like Spell Swindle here. I'm about to rip this deck apart. I like the idea of the deck, but I think part of this is just really poorly executed. So we're gonna start. I just don't feel I need emergency zone. Detection tower. I'm not worried about that. Especially like again just for the event. These are all cards that you would want to put in the deck if you knew that there was a specific. Oh, I hate that word. Specific meta that you would want to come up against. Like so. If there was a specific meta that you were coming up against and you knew it had a lot of hexproof in it, then you would run cards like Detection Tower and things like that. But we don't have that, right? So I think these are cards that gain value as the format develops, as the meta develops, and I don't think that there's something that we really need to have a lot of in the early game. I don't really care for this Cryptic Caves either. I get that it's card draw. I'm going to cut down on 1 mobilized district. Field of the Dead is pretty decent. And if we cut back on 2 of those, it gives us 8 lands that we can do. We can use for green-blue split lands. And I think that's where we're at, green-blue split lands. I will take the chance at getting Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge off of a Chromatic Lantern or a Treasure Map or a Treasure or something. But I want green blue lands, so I'm going to go with Hinterland. And then, what's the other one? Breeding pools. Alright, so that at least gives me some colored lands, which already feels better, right? Like, if we go to the simulation here. Alright, so we can't keep a 1-lander. So let's go with what does that do? Alright, so if we simulate 100 draws, we have 3% of them are 0 land hands, 18% of them are 1 land hands, 28% are 2 land hands, 27% are 3 land hands, 17% are 4 land hands. So the majority of our games here are going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4 land hands. So I guess that's probably that way for most decks, right? We didn't get any 7-landers. That's pretty good. We did get 3% 6-landers and 4% 5-landers, but this is pretty decent. We run it again, 3-landers. Run it again, 3-landers and 2. So 2-land and 3-hand. 2-land and 3-land hands seem like they're going to be. That's a pretty cool little feature. Let's run 10,000 simulations. Out of 10,000 simulations, we get 30% 3-land hands. So that's not horrible. It's pretty cool, actually. Seems like forgot about who Dragonlord. I just want to remind everybody, everyone, Allegiance Dolphin's ultimate gets around Narset's passive And he makes Thopters. You are correct. He does make Thopters. He's 3 mana. He's not bad. He's not bad, Dragon Lord. Does he fit in this deck? Maybe. Maybe he does. Let's go back to the visual on this deck. Like there's since we're already like ripping on this deck, let's rip some more. Rampage of the Clans is so good if you have something like Psy Master Thopters. Like I would like to get rid of like 1 Bag of Holding and maybe a Sparring Construct, possibly even a Mystic Forge for 3 Psy. I think 3 Psy with Steel Overseers would give us just a brutal deck. I don't like Tezzeret in here. I think that if you get to building your construct army, your little dudes. What are the sims for? We were just simulating draws. So like it draws 1,000 hands for you, or 10,000 hands, whatever you set it at, and then tells you how many of those hands were 2 land hands, 3 land hands, 4 land hands. So we discovered that most of our draws will be 2 and 3 land hands, so that's not bad. Think about it. You're glad the life gain lands are being reprinted, so we have decent budget dual lands. Well, actually, the temples will be pretty budget. I doubt the temples will ever, see $10-15 per land or anything like that. They're going to be $2 and $3 lands, so that's going to be pretty good. So yeah, 5 mana M19 Tez. See, I would actually be more for that than I would this Tezzeret Master at the bridge. I'm actually all about 5 mana M19 Tez. Let's do that. Let's do that. All right, so let's get back over here to edit. Was that Tezzeret Master Artificer or something like that? Like, I get that this Tezzeret just gives us another way to finish things off. Creatures and Planeswalker spells have affinity for artifacts. I get that. I just don't. I don't think that we have to just stick that Tezzeret in every deck that we say, hey, this is going to be an artifact deck. Phyrexian Scriptures is a big one for me here, right? Like, I want to be able to play Phyrexian Scriptures, but this deck pretty much screams I need to be Sultai. And if we don't get some extra Chromatic Lanterns in this deck, we're probably not going to be able to play this. Period. So let's back off a couple Bag of Holdings, maybe 1. If we back off 1 Sparring Construct and 1 Mystic Forge, let's go Psy Master Thopterus as a 2 of, and then we go Tezzeret. What's his name? Which Tezzeret is he? It's not Master of Metal, is it? What Tezzeret is he, guys? He makes a ton of stuff free or practically, and we're running Forge. No, he doesn't. Like, your non-creature artifacts aren't free at all. Like, the only thing he makes free is like, so pretty much these 16 cards he does not make free. The only thing he makes free would be Karn. Ugin, Thraxos, Steel Overseer, Sparring Construct. I've spelled Tezzeret right. I wrote. It's Master Artificer. Um. So you're saying it's Master Artificer, right? That's not showing up at all. Ugin makes other stuff cheaper. I get that. I get that, but our chances of being able to cast half of these spells are so slim to none. Like, we have to put in the other 2 Chromatic Lanterns or we just don't have a chance, right? Like, no chance at all if we don't put in the other 2 Chromatic Lanterns. So maybe we want the Chromatic Lanterns over Tez. What the hell is Tezzeret's name? No, not Tezzeret the Seeker, although he was pretty decent. Oh, I don't want to be searching in M20. Oh, come on. Yep. This is where we go with this. Is it Master of Metal? Have we gone over elementals yet? No, we have not. I'm saving the elementals one for a little while. How am I I have to be misspelling Tezzeret. Tezzeret. Oh. Oh my god. Be with me, chat. Just hang in there with me, chat. Oh, we don't have to have the comma. Oh, Artifice. Artifice Master. There we go. You're right. It's Artifice Master. Alright. So, we are looking for... Why does it show up now? Whatever. This makes me think that Phyrexian Scriptures isn't going to work. Whatever. We get stuck with the Phyrexian Scriptures in hand, and we just get stuck with it. Artifact Rampage. I tried this last event, the Psi Rampage of the Clans deck, and it was actually just I thought it was pretty sweet. So, all right, moving on. We added some mana so that we can actually cast some things. We're still going to be stuck on the Phyrexian Scriptures half of it. This is probably a bad card for this deck, or we need to actually have some mana in the deck that will allow us to cast it. I think upping the number of Chromatic Lanterns will overall help the deck actually be able to cast some things. Spell Swindle, I did sure whatever. Right, like this just feels bad. Spell Swindle is a great card when you can make it work, Yes, we've all had those moments where like you get to spell swindle something like a Galta and you just get to live the dream. But more times than not, I'm sitting here stuck with a spell swindle in hand. I don't have the mana to cast it, so maybe, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure on spell swindle, but we'll go with this. All right, so this is going to be we're going to call this one a jank deck. Save that and move on to the next deck. So let's go back to my decks, import, see what the next one on the list is. All right, so we've got a Grixis deck here. Now this is a James Clugston brew. I asked James to forcibly put some new cards in his Grixis brew. So Grixis mid control. That's right. It's a new archetype. Could be a third map. That's true. You could go with a third map there. I agree. Cryptic Rocket. All right. So this deck's got Kefnet, Nicol Bolas, like four Nikki B. Plus he's also got 4 more Nikki B Dragon God. We've got 3 Narsets. The mana base is just like perfectly smooth to be able to do everything you need to do. We've got Thought Erasures, Negates, Lava Coils, Flame Sweep, Disfigure. Disfigure is one of the new cards that James was wanting to try out in Grixis. Flame Sweep also being one of the cards, wanting to see if this works any better than some of the other cards that we could try. Now, as far as Flame Sweep goes, in the original version of the deck, we did have some Thief of Sanities and things. Being able to run Flame Sweep and not kill your own Thief of Sanity seems like that's pretty decent. So maybe we end up with Thief of Sanity back in the deck. But then again, maybe not. Thief of Sanity may be also one of the best ways for us to play with some of the new cards. Looks fine. Not many new cards though. It doesn't. We're basically just trying out the power of Disfigure, Flame Sweep, and that's about it. I thought there were a few more cards in here. We're not really showing off much. The new Temple is in here. 1. Not a whole lot in Grixis, huh? What didn't make it over? This is only 56 cards. What didn't convert? What didn't convert? Alright, let's close some of these. Discovery Dispersal. Alright. As far as Grixis goes, Grixis is one of those, like, I don't like Discovery Dispersal in this deck. Like, I've had this argument until I'm blue in the teeth. So mid-range, control, save. I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna argue Grixis. Grixis is one of those decks where you pretty much have to know a meta to fight against it. So maybe there's some other new cards that could fit in the Grixis. So there are 3 new cards in the main 60. Yeah. Moving on. Yeah, I really just want to try Flame Sweep out, which I may end up bringing Thief of Sanity back into this deck. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. I may not even play Grixis tomorrow. Like I was wanting to see more new Grixis cards, like more of the new Chandra or something like that, maybe in the Grixis deck. So maybe I'll have to go back to Brewing on this a little bit later. James actually spent more time working on a Teamer Dinos deck for me, other than working on this Grixis deck. So we do have a Teamer Dinos deck that needs work. I'm just gonna save that and move on, because like I'm probably gonna spend a little bit more time and build my own version of Grixis. So I'm not gonna waste your guys' time playing with Grixis right now. Alright, so what do we have here? Let's close that. Let's pull the next list. Goblins, that's right. One of you guys loves goblins, and you built this goblin deck, and this will be fun. Copy. The majority of creatures in the goblin deck are named Goblin something. It's funny. You got Goblin Banneret, Goblin Cratermaker, Goblin Instigator, Goblin Ringleader, Goblin Trashmaster, Goblin Warchief, Krinko, Legion Warboss. Right? Anyway. Goblins! We'll import that. Goblins looks decent. It does look decent. And it looks decent enough. I'm actually probably not going to mess around with this version of the deck very much and just kind of run it as is. We've got all the good goblins in here. Goblin Ringleader being one of the big new goblins that we got. Yeah, it's a 4-mana 2/2, but goblins being able to refill their hands pretty sweet. I wish we had a Goblin Grenade. That would be broken. Like, just reprint Goblin Grenade for us, please. Come on. Come on, we had it before, right? New Nickelodeon show. Goblins! Icon of Ancestry. We get to call goblins, right? And then creatures, we choose a couple, like goblin creatures get +1/+1. Give us Goblin Grenade or give us death, right? I want some Goblin Grenade. Goblin Grenade would be so sweet. For now, though, we've got to like just settle for like Siege Gang Commander, Legion Warboss, and Krinko. These are all pretty sweet, so not bad. Goblin Tunneler would make Krinko able to swing in so that you wouldn't like lose your Krinko. You could also use Goblin Tunneler to Legion Warboss, make it unblockable so it could swing in with its token, making its token bigger. So maybe Goblin Tunneler would have a spot in this deck. What is the new Goblin Tunneler? Oh no. What's he called? It's a 3-mana goblin. I don't think... Maybe he's not worth it? Goblin Banneret's actually a lot better than a lot of people give it credit for. You think goblins are going to be fun? I think so too. I wonder if they reprint the Immortal Sun in M21 next year. Getting way ahead of your... Deck needs more Krinko. More Krinko. That's possible. It could possibly need more Krinko. I don't know what I would take out for more Krinko. If anything, just like a Legion Warboss or something. I think it's fair to leave it the way it is, though. Or not a Legion Warboss, a Siege Gang Commander for a Krinko. Take out like one Siege Gang Commander for one more Krinko. Maybe even take out one Goblin Warchief for a Krinko. Trashmaster's not bad. It means we're not going to like lose to an artifact deck, right? Destructive Digger. Oh, man, I don't know. Been saying that about Goblin Banneret since day one. Yeah, the card's a lot better than people give it credit for. There's been a couple games where I just won just straight up off of a Goblin Banneret. Like you just start pumping it, and then like something else just starts getting bigger and bigger, and it's pretty good. Goblin assault teams. What? I don't. I think I can cut a trash master. Like, so if we make some cuts on this, I'm going to cut a trash master and a war chief. Crater Maker's not horrible, but it's also like not one of the goblins that like I'm just dying to play. It's good, don't get me wrong, like Crater Maker's great, but if I'm trying to cut some slots for a few other goblins, I'm also going to cut down one Siege Gang Commander, so that we can, 2 Siege Gang Commanders, like 2 on the top end there seems okay, and that gives us 4 cards to play with. From that we can go, let's go look for some goblins, right? Alright, so we want goblins, goblins in standard. No, we don't want to select standard. We want to go. Are we only looking for the new? Let's see what it comes up with when I do this. I think I want Goblin. You would drop Crater Maker altogether. I think I would drop Taskmaster, but maybe Crater Maker. Crater Maker's got a shock on him. Fanatical Firebrand is a Goblin, right? Fanatical Firebrand's one to think about. Goblin Chain Whirler is definitely one that we got to think about. No, I wouldn't run Squee. Dark Dweller Oracle probably wouldn't make the cut. Like if you're trying to just play like the best goblins, then some of these goblins definitely don't make the cut. I forgot about Ember Hauler. Ember Hauler is a good goblin. Only Crater Maker's better, right? I don't know. Ember Hauler will do it to 2 damage to any target, whereas Crater Maker only does 2 damage to target creature, and you can destroy target, or you could destroy target colorless non-land permanent. Like so, he could like just pay 1 and destroy Karn. Volley Veteran is actually not bad. Fanatical Firebrand's not bad. 10th Street Dodger's not a horrible goblin. And there's a lot of good goblins right now, aren't there? Destructive Digger. Sacrifice an artifact or a land, draw a card. No, that's not the one I was talking about. There's one, here it is. Goblin Smuggler. This is Goblin Tunneler. Tunneler's technically a little bit better, but haste and another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. Like, this might be playable. Probably not. Bloodstone Goblin. Whenever you cast a spell, if that spell was kicked, never mind. And I'm going to read the rest of it. And there are a lot of good goblins right now. Might be Fanatical Firebrand. Or do the last 4 slots just go to Goblin Chain Whirler? I think I just want Goblin Chain Whirler. It's just hard to play a Goblin deck and not run Goblin Chain Whirler. He's pretty good. Can I pick his brain about it on a sub Sunday or something? What is up? Alright, will I talk a little about potential relevant utility removal sideboard tech cards for all colors? Oh wow. Whew. Are you talking about like just all cards in general, or like you got a specific set of cards you want me to talk about? Like what What are you asking there, Alba? Like, if you're running this card, these are some potential cards that you could run as like sideboard cards. I mean, if you're in these color combinations, these are some cards you can think about for sideboard cards. From the new set, well, you've got the ley lines. They're pretty much all built to be sideboard cards, except green. Like just, yeah, except green's like the one that's just totally different. The red one's also just trash. Like the red and the green one, neither one of those really impressed me a lot. Although some people see the green one really great. Big ones we're going to have here in the near future are going to be Grafdigger's Cage is going to be huge. Grafdigger's Cage is just going to shut down like pretty much all graveyard shenanigans. You do have to we will have to check the wording of certain graveyard shenanigan decks to be able to see if like we can get around Grafdigger's Cage, but like creatures not being able to enter from the graveyard means reanimator abilities and things are just shut down. So the Grafdigger's Cage is going to be huge. The ley lines are going to be pretty big. Like if you're coming up against Burn or something and you play white ley line, and all of a sudden you have hexproof against a red deck that can't remove an enchantment, they're screwed. Like seriously. So there's a bunch of sideboard potential that we would have to have a separate stream for that. Like that, there's yeah. We'll save that one, Alba, and we'll revisit that one, man. Dragon Lord, you're off to bed. You will try and get the list posted in the morning. Have a great night, all. Well, Dragon Lord, have a good one, sir. And I will check tomorrow for your list. And I'll be streaming for a while tomorrow. We've got like 12 or more hours worth of streaming to do tomorrow. So like there's going to be plenty of time. That's why tonight is just one of those, just kind of hanging out with everybody. We're just talking, brewing some ideas and stuff like that. That's right, Stream Boss, Sir Dragon Lord there. Thank you very much, Dragon Lord. You're awesome. All of you guys are. The red one could be worse than it is. It could be, but I agree with you. You don't like it, but you don't hate it either. You see potential for it. Maybe. I like the green one. I also don't know if I don't know how much potential I see for that one either. Madness. I really don't. The green one, yeah, it's got some build around to it, and I know you built around it, but would it just be better served as like a different slot? I mean, are you really wanting? Are we really needing mana that bad that we're giving a slot in the deck to that? I don't know. Yeah, I do think I'm just going to make the change here and add the Goblin Chain Whirler here. Just cutting down on a couple other things to make room for the Chain Whirler. Also, Skirk Prospector is not like the greatest thing in the world. I know we want it from time to time to make other things work, but I'm going to cut down one Skirk for one more Krinko. And I'll save this Goblin deck as is and go from there. So, Goblins, aggro, save. This deck's probably a lot better than I even think it is. Like the deck's probably pretty sweet. Yeah. Aether Hub's also got the rarity count here. There's only 4 rares in this deck. So if you guys want to build this on Arena, this would be a decent one, right? Like the only that's wrong, or like that's wrong. 17 rares in the deck, 4 individual, right? 4 in the sideboard. That's what that is. All right, 17 in the main, 4 in the sideboard. Yeah, Grafdigger. I was gonna say there's more rares than that. It still wouldn't be that bad of a deck to build. I was like 4 rares, but Goblin Chain Whirler and Legion Warboss are rare. Moving on. Alright, so we won't save that. Alright. Next here we got Golgari Graves. Let's see. I'm gonna add that extra space. I think we gotta go space / space. Let's try that. Copy. Alright, so Golgari Graves. Can you send it to me? No, dummy. We'll get to it. We will. We'll get there eventually. Hey, the Fine Finale actually pulled up. So what card am I missing? What card didn't pull up? Oh, Status Statue. Alright. I didn't go in and fix it. Alright. So 2 Status Statues. Alright, so here we've got, Elvish Reclaimer, which, goes with, throwing those lands in the graveyard. Which is not hard when you've got cards like Vraska Golgari Queen. She's going to allow us to, sacrifice lands, putting those in the graveyard. So if we want to go that route, we've got some Evolving Wilds, which can throw some lands in the graveyard. And then we've got Stitcher Supplier, which can throw lands in the graveyard. Stariv is decent. I still find that even though this card looks pretty decent, in my gameplay and in practice, it seems that Golgari Finebroker is actually a better card. Even though, just because Finebroker does what it's going to do the moment it enters the battlefield, right? You're always guaranteed that one card back. Stariv has the higher ceiling, but he's also got a much lower floor. So it could just go worse than if you were to play a Stariv and then get to swing with it like 3 or 4 times, then things go great for you. But most of the time, it's not as good as you would want it to be. Kitesail Freebooter is really good at pulling cards out of our opponent's hand and things like that. I actually like Kitesail Freebooter. I also like Kitesail Freebooter with the new card Blood for Bones. So you can sack the freebooter, let them get something, like put that card that you took from their hand earlier that you didn't want them to have on curve, but now you might be able to handle it very easily, and now you'll let them have that card back, and then you can replay the Kitesail Freebooter. It just looks interesting. Alright, so the card I don't like in here is Deb's card. Deb's preview card was Gorging Vulture, and yes, Gorging Vulture is cool, right? But a good price to pay for this effect is not 3 mana, right? Okay, so we do get a 3 mana 2/2 flyer. Okay, so we get a 2/2 flyer off of it. That's not really going to fit with pretty much anything else in the deck. It's not what we're just begging for most of the time. If you want this effect, you've got cards like Glowspore Shaman. For 2 mana, you can dump 3 cards in the graveyard. For 1 mana, with Stitcher Supplier, we can dump 3 cards in the graveyard. This is a much better pricing of this effect, and even though that we are going to gain 1 life for each creature card put into the graveyard this way, I just don't believe that it's worth it to run Gorging Vulture. So this would be the first card that I would cut out of this deck. And like I said, from practice, Stariv's not as good as your Golgari Finebrokers are going to be. I get that Stariv has his place, and that place is probably in some type of Legends Matter type of deck or something like that. But in practice, he's just not as good as Golgari Finebroker if you want this effect. If you need to be able to get something from the graveyard back to your hand, this is not the card you really want. Seriously, just run the Finebroker, guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this, and I'm going to put Finebroker in. And I get some of you may not like that, but just from practice, that's what I have found. I have found that Golgari Finebroker consistently will replace itself more often than Storeve. Like Storeve has to sit around, it has to wait a turn, things like that. And Fine Broker has the same benefits with cards like Fine Finale. He's still big enough to survive through Fine Finale if you put the +1/+1 counters on him. So Gorging Vulture's pretty much got to go out of this deck. Like, I want to try the new Gorging Vulture. Maybe we don't. Maybe that we do leave Gorging Vulture in the deck, and we just use tomorrow as an example. Is it going to be good enough? Because maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe it is better than I think it is, and maybe we should be playing Gorging Vulture. So maybe we'll just use tomorrow as an example, and we'll test it out. The big one I'm actually interested in here is Embody of Agonies, right? Like this is the whole reason to be dumping shit into our graveyard, right? Like if we're filling the graveyard up, and then we get to start using the Embodiment of Agonies to just make it huge, that's gonna be great, right? So I'm actually good with just leaving this deck as is. Fine Broker, though, maybe we go 1-1 so that we can do the better Embodiment of Agonies. No, I'm not putting Storeve in, not while we have Fine Broker available. So, let's go. This is mid range. I'm gonna hit save on that, and then we're gonna move on from this deck. Alright, so what's next on the list? Is it Speed Drakes? I think this is Rush's deck. It's an Arclight Phoenix build. Is there any split cards? Alright, so import. This particular deck is a Patreon deck, so I'm just going to load this one, and I've already talked to Rush about it, and we've already made a few changes. All in all, though, it's Arclight Phoenix, Crackling Drakes, Enigma Drakes, Goblin Electromancer, Chart of Course, Leyline of Anticipation. That the idea on this deck is to be able to use cards like Uncaged Fury to give one of those Drakes. Yeah, basically, to give one of those Drakes. Jank, stop, dude. Like, stop just counting the new cards in a deck. Uncaged Fury gives double strike, and that alone may be enough to make, like, ooh, gotcha, you know, worth it out of Crackling Drakes. So interesting. It just doesn't matter here, Jank. This deck's paid for, right? This is a Patreon deck. So, moving on. I actually call this aggro, mid-range, combo, whatever. Yeah, so it just doesn't matter. Like, again. Alright, moving on to Jeskai. You blink, you miss it. Do we have any split cards? Split cards, split cards, split cards. Alright. Jeskai, blink, miss it. Alright, let's learn from you, Dad. Um, Agent of Treachery. Oh my goodness. 7 mana. Deputy of Detention. Trickster. Scholar of Ages. How the hell are we getting this stuff on the battlefield? Alright, Jank, explain something to me, because I know this is your deck. How the hell do you plan on playing 7 mana Scholar of Ages and Agent of Treachery? Right? Like, alright, so we can get back just Gar's Portal. I mean, I get it. If we ever get it on the battlefield, we get to start blinking. Exchange control of 2 target permanents to share a permanent type. This is one of the ways that we swap cards out to make Agent of Treachery worth it. Teferi's Time Twist, we get to bounce something. Return to the battlefield under. If it's a creature, it gets a +1 counter. Scholar of the Ages. Why? Not my deck, not my fault. You said everything right there. Scholar of the Ages has got to go, right? Laugh out loud, he's tilting. Yes, I'm on tilt already. Like, why? Why? Like, this effect is not good enough. I can get I can get a bunch of stuff back for 7 mana. For 7 mana, I can go get new copies of these cards. Like, oh. And then we've got Mesmerizing Benefit, which the card's not horrible, but... Alright, Leslie. Since Jank has blamed this one on you, Wall of Runes, why? Like, why do we need a wall? Enters the battlefield, when it enters, we scry 1. Like, why is this worth a spot? Omen Speaker enters the battlefield, scry 2. Why is this... Is this like... There's higher quality cards that we could run in these spots. So, I get the idea of the deck is Agent of Treachery with role reversal. We're stealing their stuff over and over again. Like, Agent of Treachery needs to live. Like, you need to have done the role reversal thing a few times, and then it needs to live. The thing I fear about this deck is that you're either going to spend all of your time going dirtle, and never really be able to go off, and then, like, if you're spending 7 mana to do these big, huge things, you've got to hope that they've got something that has been just destroying. Is this not yours? I thought this was your deck, man. You blink, you miss. I could have sworn this was your deck. So if you're saying you didn't build it, I figured it was Leslie. Is it not your deck? I'm about to just like scrap this one. I get the idea. Like, we want to take things from our opponent, and that's a cool idea with the role reversal. Even the idea of Scholar of Ages. Okay, hey, look, I'm going to get a role reversal back, but then I've got to like pass, and I've just spent 7 mana for a 3/3, right? So it's not. This is Saffron Skills. Then there's probably something in this deck that I just don't understand. Saffron's got a couple decks that he submitted. I'm assuming that I'll like the other one better. Saffron Skills, if you're watching, man, what the hell are you thinking? Like, you're going to have to send me a message, Saffron, and tell me how this was supposed to work, right? Like, we're supposed to just continuously return target instant or sorcery card from our graveyard to our hand. We can return like just Scar portals over and over and just keep exiling creatures and blinking them, and if we happen to keep an Agent of Treachery on the battlefield, we can start blinking it over and over, and that looks fun. But that seems so far off the competitive path. It almost makes me want to try it. I'm afraid this deck would put me on tilt way too hard. I really think this deck would put me on tilt hardcore. If we have time tomorrow, maybe I'll actually play this. What? Uh-oh. So they're actually starting to label M20 cards as legal as of about 5 minutes ago. So, yeah. Aether Hub's going to start naming these as legal. Alright. I'll save the deck. I don't know if I'll actually upload it to Arena or not, but Saffron Skills, if you watch this, leave me a comment. Let me fill me in on some information on this Jeskai Blink Miss It. Blink You'll Miss It deck. I'm curious as to what you got going on there. Do I have a... Is there a link I can give you guys? No. I just want to give have a link that I could give you guys that you guys can all come to view these decks, and you can leave comments on them and things like that. All right. Anyway, I don't even know what to say about the Blink You'll Miss It deck. That deck put me on tilt just by looking at it. Good job, Saffron. Alright, just Skylar. This one's actually pretty cool. I seen this deck and was like, okay, that looks interesting. It's an Adeliz Cinderwind deck, so I've wanted that card to be good for a while. It just doesn't seem like it wants to be good. So Jeskai Spirits. Alright, so you guys and your funny names. Alright, so Adeliz, Kaikar, Wind's Fury, Kakar. That's right. That's how you're supposed to say that. Kakar. Alright, so whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get to make a spirit. We can sack a spirit to make a red mana. We can use that red mana to Banefire someone. Crash Through, just one of those cards. It's just a cantrip. You just make a spirit. Creatures you control gain trample until end of turn and draw a card, right? Light Up the Stage. It's not going to be real hard to hit someone, considering we've got Shocks, Spell Pierce. Response Resurgence was a card that was fairly interesting in here. But again, I don't really mind it. Like I said, I've looked at this deck already, and this deck actually looked pretty decent to me. I kind of like the cut of this deck's jib. Gib? Is it jib? Gib? I butchered that saying, didn't I? Damn, Daniel. Now I'm thinking of my buddy Lonnie. Anyway, whatever. Lightning Stormkin. Another cool card, Elemental Wizard. So we could have all these Adeliz triggers and all this other stuff go off. Since we also have a bunch of flying, we can probably get down the Seraph Sky's Blade down. Sephara. Sephara. It's not Sephiroth, but Sephara. Sky's Blade. She should have just had one really long blade, right? That would have been funnier. It would have been funnier, wouldn't it? All in all, though, I actually just like this. I like the idea of the cantrips, Warlord's Furies, the Crash Throughs, just using that to just chain off and make as many flyers as possible. You can use those flyers to get down a 1 mana Sky's Blade or something like that. So that's the idea there. I'm calling it jank, and we're moving on. Alright, so yeah, this deck's just got it's got the pieces that you would want to be running. As far as sideboard cards go, it's pretty decent. We're not going to be running sideboard for the tomorrow's event though, so I get it that a lot of you guys like, you know, posted decks and everybody wants their decks played, and I said that I will play as many as I possibly can. So right now we're just trying to see Sifara? No, man. That can't be right. Sifara? You got to get that Sif in there, right? Like Sephiroth. You remember who Sephiroth was? It wasn't Sephiroth. I do not agree with your pronunciation. It's a proper noun. Well, it wasn't Sephiroth. I played Vincent most of the time in that game anyway, so I didn't, like, whatever. Alright, so where are we at here? Next deck. Ooh, the Mono Black Mill deck. The M20 Mono Black Mill. This deck will be interesting. Mono Black Mill. Alright, so with this deck we've got Yarok Finlurker. Yarok's Finlurker enters the battlefield. Each opponent exile a card from their hand. Death Touch Lifelink, Plague Crafter. Not many creatures in the deck, so like normally when you see a deck that doesn't have very many creatures in it, normally when you see a deck that doesn't have many creatures in it, most of those creatures really need to stand for something. They need to matter, right? Like you got to have a reason for those creatures. I find that really hard to believe with 1 mana vampire, 1 mana Death Touch Lifelink vampire. There better be some way to really get some value out of my 1/1 Death Touch Lifelink. There better be some way to get some value out of each opponent exiles a card from their hand. Like I don't even get to pick which card they exile, right? So I don't know. Aid the Fallen to be able to like maybe give us our Vampire or Plague Crafter back. Ritual of Soot, which will kill all of our creatures too. Scheming Symmetry. Choose 2 target players. Each of them searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it. Okay, so we both get to scheme up something here. Screaming Shield. Equipped creature gets +0, +3, and has target player puts the top 3 cards of their library in their graveyard. So I've got to pay 4 mana and then another 2 to put this Screaming Shield on. We tried the Screaming Shield in the past. It just doesn't work. Like this just doesn't work. Eldest Reborn. Like we're gonna spend so much time trying to get creatures back from the graveyard and trying to redo that to be able to do this. If the idea on this deck is to mill our opponent out with Screaming Shield, then no thanks. I would prefer a mono black burn build. I'm not interested in playing a Screaming Shield deck tomorrow, so I'm scrapping this one. Moving on. Marcus's Fault, Part 3. Alright, so this is a deck that I actually like and dislike at the same time. This is Tier 1 Janks deck. I'm pretty sure there was Ashiok. It wasn't an Ashiok deck. I I'm still not game on that. All right, so we've got Gorging Vulture, Stitcher Supplier again. We got Dragon Mage. I think this was the deck that you were talking about, right, Marcus? That you really wanted to see played. This deck's kind of doing two things, right? And I don't think it's doing either one of those things really well. But this is the one deck that Marcus was like, if you're going to pick any of my decks, like, play with this one. It's running both Blood for Bones and Bond of Revival, which is a card I didn't actually know about. Bond of Revival's just another way to reanimate cards from the graveyard. The problem that I have with this deck is the deck's built around both wanting to make people discard cards and also wanting to do this really like reanimator thing, right? I do get that the more times you can reanimate Fel Spectre, the better off you're going to be. The deck's missing a couple small parts that I would have liked to have seen in the deck. The major one of those being, like, if you're going to have like this discard aspect where, you know, whenever an opponent discards a card, you know, the player's going to lose 2 life. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked with a creature, they're going to discard a card. I would have liked to have seen Davril in the deck. Davril is actually really, really good in these type decks. I don't mind using cards like Gorging Vulture, Stitcher Supplier, Vampire of the Dire Moon. I don't mind feeding those to a Spark Harvest to be able to kill Teferis and things like that. That doesn't sound really bad to me. Being able to feed, you know, a Fel Spectre for a Spark Harvest, and then be able to Blood for Bones that same Fel Spectre back onto the battlefield by like sacrificing a Stitcher Supplier or something doesn't sound real bad. Like, I don't mind that. But I think that the deck is kind of split on being both a reanimator deck and a discard deck, and I think it could do either one of those things much better than trying to do both of those things. I get the idea on it, though. I would add Davril to this deck. I don't know how much I like the Ob Nixilis, Hate Twisted, destroy target creature. Its controller draws 2 cards. Yeah, we can start shooting our own creatures to be able to draw some cards. Dragon Mage is one of those cards we pretty much just have to dump into the graveyard. Like, we've got Bloodfell Caves, which is a budget land that we could possibly cast a Dragon Mage with, but more than likely we're not going to be able to cast a Dragon Mage, and we don't have many ways of actually like discarding cards from our hand. So if we draw a Dragon Mage, we're kind of stuck with it. This budget brew is really bad, Marcus. Yeah, Blood for Bones is interesting. It only really cares about the discard with Dragon Mage. The Spectre is there for the static effect. Yeah, I get why Fel Spectre's there, man. Like, how are you getting a Dragon Mage that you draw into your graveyard, man? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, if you get this Dragon Mage in your graveyard or in your hand, what are you going to do with it? It's janky, but it'll be fun when it goes off. But what if we draw it? If we draw a Dragon Mage and it's going to happen, it's going to suck. Alright, well, this is your pick. Your please run this. Okay, whatever. Tier 1 Jank deck. That's what I'm naming it. Moving on. I've got way too many decks. Alright, Mono White Angels. This one's actually pretty cool. Alright, so let's copy that. Import. Angel of Grace. Let's see. Mono White Angels. Alright. So, let's go ahead and get our tags set, because I'm probably not going to spend much time on this deck either. We're just going to go mid-range and save. Alright, so we get Angel of Grace, which is, flash flying. A pretty cool card. We've got Angel of Vitality, which is one of the new angels that allows us to gain even more life when we make an angel. Like the Bishop of Wings is pretty cool. Since we have all these angels, we also got Lyra, we've got Resplendent Angel, Sephra, Alright, Sephra, Sky's Blade. I'm going with that. Sephra. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Shalai, also another really cool card. For non-angel spells, we got a little bit of removal here. Dawn of Hope. I don't think that I like Dawn of Hope in this deck. God's Willing. Ritual of Rejuvenation. We can gain 5 life right off of that if we have the Angel of Vitality. Sky Tether's not that bad. Just one of those like Chain to the Rocks or whatever. Enchanted creature has Defender and loses flying. So we can knock things out of the air. We can go with Unbreakable Formation to make our angels like just even bigger, or things like that. Blast Zone and Plains is a basic mana base here. This deck's pretty straightforward and just decent. It's got quite a few of the new Angels cards, and it should be a lot of fun. So moving on that one. All right, so I need to go back to my decks. All right, next here is Big Red Planeswalkers. This is another deck that I actually liked. Like the idea of. All right, so this is Mono Red Walkers. I forget who made this deck, but I actually like the idea of this deck. This may be a deck that I actually play around with a little bit in the future, and like just some type of big red deck. The idea here is it's kind of meme-ish, where we're just playing like all the Chandras, right? We've got Chandra Acolyte of Flame, we've got Chandra Awakened Inferno, we got Chandra Novus Pyromancer, which should probably actually be the current Chandra. We've got Chandra's Regulator. So this is like Chandra's deck, right? We've even got Chandra's Ember Cat. This is the pet we're getting, by the way. We're getting Chandra's pet elemental cat. So you guys will see that tomorrow in Arena. But this is a for the memes deck. Again, I personally think that the 4-mana Chandra should have probably been our current 4-mana Chandra, right? I just think that that's better, but I get the idea of elementals and stuff. So we're just gonna go with Jank, save this, and I'm gonna move on. It's just an idea. Let's just try let's just build a Chandra deck, and that alone, I'll not deviate and try to make it more or even less. I'm not gonna go into this deck that much. It is what it is because it's built to be a Chandra deck. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. I do like it though, and I will play it because I just kind of like the idea of, hey, let's just try this Chandra deck. I don't remember which one of you guys built it, but thank you. All right, Spirit Tribal. All right, so I like this. I like this Spirit deck here. Let's go. We have any more split lands? No. Spirits. Isn't this one of your decks, Tier 1 Jank? You definitely want to brew with Big Chandra. There's Accidental. Alright, we've got Dungeon Geist. I forgot this card was a card. I mean, it just permanently freezes something down. I forgot all about Dungeon Geist. This card's... I so forgot we were getting this. This card can be really good. Empyrean Angel. other creatures we control with flying, which we're going to have a bunch of flyers. We're going to make a bunch of spirits with Kakar, Wind's Fury, Remorseful Cleric. Well, we're not going to have to worry about Graveyard Shenanigans. We've got Supreme Phantom. We've even got Sephira Skies. Man, you guys like Sephira. Sephira. Banefire, Blink of an Eye, Deafening Clarion. None of these cards look bad. All of these cards look good. I don't see anything that I just wouldn't want to play with. Is there something better that just has to be in spirits? Yeah. Angels, Chandra, and spirits are all you. Okay. Well, like, so far this is definitely one of the better decks that you've submitted. Yeah, I like this one. I'm just gonna save it and go with it. Like, this one's good. So, like, for some of them I didn't like your decks, but you've got other decks that I actually liked pretty well here. So I don't know. I should probably just name this as some aggro jank, and then just go from there. Sultai Reanimator, huh? Alright. Somebody's after my heart. I just went through pulling decks. If it was an M20 deck on the Reddit, I was pulling them. I was like, we'll talk about them later. So some of these decks I got a chance to look at, some of them I didn't. So we've got Sultai Reanimator. Alright, so do we have any? $57? What did I miss? Can I have concocts? What didn't translate over? Oh man, I'm gonna spend forever trying to figure out what cards need to be in this deck. Does this deck have anything new? Oh, I think this was Dragonlord's deck. Okay, so this is actually Dragonlord's deck that I asked him to update. So I'm actually going to remove this one. He has updated this deck, and we'll pull this one again later. So yeah, we're gonna remove this Sultai Reanimator, and he's got a new version of that one for us. I forgot, like, he had a version that wasn't updated yet. Teferi Prison Warden. Alright. Teferi Prison Warden. Do we have any split? No split cards. Teferi Prison. Alright, so Teferi's Prison here. Cleansing Nova, Dawn of Dreams, one of the cards that I'm looking most forward to. Leyline of Anticipation, Negate, Op, Pacifism, Rule of Law. Alright, so this is like the prison part of it right here. We Rule of Law. We make sure they can only cast one spell per turn, as long as we can counter that. We use Leyline of Anticipation to make sure that we can cast a spell on our turn and cast a spell on their turn, maximizing our potential for casting spells. That's pretty much the gist of this deck. Using cards like Gideon and Teferi to just kind of win the game over. I can't believe Teferi costs so much money. It's ridiculous. Yeah. This deck looks fine. It's definitely control though. Alright, moving on. I want to get to the Elementals deck. Finally got it. Alright. What do you got? Who do you voodoo? Is this mono black burn? This is mono black burn. This is burn. Ooh, I see Vampire Sovereign. This is burn. Haunt of Hightower. Oh, and the Vicious Conquistadors. Yeah. Arterial Flow. Alright, so mono black burn, huh? Alright, so I need to save this in my decks. Mono black burn. Mono black burn's pure jank, right? It's like some fun jank. Thanks for putting that together for me. I don't know why we're actually doing Haunt of Hightower, but makes the opponent discard cards, which isn't horrible. So whatever. Yeah. Moving on. Alright, just make sure the mono black burn deck made it. Alright, so where are we at? Teamer Dinos. Alright, I need to redo Teamer Dinos. And then we've got no, not playing that deck. Alright, Teamer Elementals, last deck here. Alright, so Teamer Elementals. This is like the deck that I'm most excited for this season, guys. Like, this is it. Like, I am super excited for this Elementals deck, right? I didn't even think about running the Ember Cat. I didn't even think about running the cat. You do have some Chandras in here. You don't even... Alright, so we gotta do some stuff. I'm not on the growth spiral plan. Like, so I'm only gonna be playing a couple elemental decks. Alright, so with Risen Reef, right? Like, I think this is just an instant 4 of. Risen Reef is so broken, guys. Like, this card is so... Like, this is a bannable card. I don't think y'all realize just how broken this card's gonna be. Some of you do. Overgrowth Elemental enters battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on another target elemental you control. When another creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. If that creature was an elemental, put another 1/1 counter on Overgrowth Elemental. Personally, I actually don't think Overgrowth Elemental is powerful enough to make this deck. I mean, it enters the battlefield, you put a counter on one of the other ones. Okay, that's fine. I'm actually looking for... What's Chandra? What is... What are the new Chandras? Oh my goodness. Alright, so I need to do it this way. I need to go look up all the M20 Chandras. One of them creates 2 elementals. That alone is going to be pretty broken. Don't need Goblin. And let's search for that. Let's see what happens here. Risen Reef and Zendikar's Royal can go infinite in Commander. Really? That seems pretty good. It just seems stupid. Risen, like, if you think Explorer is good, Risen Reef is going to blow your mind. Alright, so Flame's Fury deals 2 damage to any target, deals 4 damage to... That's not what we're looking for. Cannot be countered. This is not what we're looking for the elemental. The 3 mana Acolyte of Flame. This is the one we're looking for right here. Acolyte of Flame. The second 0 ability on this means that we can create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens, and we sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step, so they'll die. They won't get exiled. That's relevant. All right, so this is definitely a combo piece that not necessarily a combo piece, but not a non-bow either. So I want Chandra, Acolyte Flame. I want at least 3 copies of this. Risen Reef is what I want to use for the ramp in this deck. So Risen Reef says that whenever it or another elemental enters the battlefield, you get to do this, like, Acolyte of Flame. You get to do this this Explorer mechanic, and that Explorer will give you it'll either ramp you a card or draw you a card, one or the other, which is just stupid, right? Like, it'll draw you an actual card, whereas Explorer will just draw you a land. Where this, if it's a land, it goes straight to the battlefield, and instead of being able to put that card in your graveyard or on top of your library, you just put that card in your hand. Like, it's just Explorer on crack. Like, it's I hate to say on crack's a better thing, right? But it's Explorer to the next extreme. There you go. Which makes me not really interested in Growth Spiral, right? Another thing that, you know, I really do like in this deck, which I'm finding really funny. So we've got the Multini. We got Multani. All right, so we got Multani Yabamara's avatar. Yeah, and Multani Yabamara's avatar can be brought back from the graveyard by a Thunderkin Awakener, along with Risen Reef and Thunderkin Awakener. I'm gonna have to play with this deck a little bit more, because I really want to just start ripping cards out of this deck and throwing other cards in. Overgrowth Elemental's not making it for me. It's just not good enough to make the cut. Growth Spiral's not what I'm looking for. I'm all about the Risen Reef. I need as many of that as I can get a hold of. Thunderkin Awakener. I think this card's going to be really big. It can bring back a Multani from the graveyard. So Multani is just hilarious. It will be extremely hilarious because it's a 0/0 while it's in the graveyard, and you can bring it back with a Thunderkin Awakener on turn 2 if you could somehow get the thing in the graveyard on turn 1. So that's interesting, right? Risen Reef says that whenever an elemental enters the battlefield under your control, you know, you do that awesome Explore thing. When you pair that with cards like Chandra, who can make 2 elementals, so yeah, that goes ham. By the way, just to backtrack a little, I realize Haunt of Hightower can be cheated in with Sorin, right? There we go. I knew there had to be a better reason. I knew that I was missing something, so that'll work. That works. Omnath is one of the few cards I probably actually don't want to be running near that many of, but it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to the number of elementals we control, which could be pretty good. That's to any target, so that's kind of like an extra little lightning strike for us. Multani's pretty good. Lightning Storm, I don't know if this is an elemental we need, right? Maybe not. Like, maybe this is where we want some type of card draw or like draw a card, discard a card effect. I would really like some type of loot. Other elementals get +1/+0. You can make this thing huge for 4 mana if you have a bunch of elementals. Embercat's kind of like our elemental Llanowar Elf. This is like too good to just not play. Like, is there any other reason to be in blue? Omnath and Risen Reef? Like, what about the 3 mana elemental that draws a card when it enters the battlefield? Is that worth playing? Probably not. We need something at like turn 1 that says draw a card, discard a card. I think Chart of Course belongs in the stack, honestly. Like, I think that if we could get something else in the stack, it's probably Chart of Course. I'm looking for something to cut, and it's probably Lightning Stormkin. If we cut Lightning Stormkin, we've got 24 lands. I would even cut like a Nissa, maybe. I mean, Nissa's so damn good, though. Oh, she's so good. Like, you just win so many games off of Nissa's back. And she turns creatures into elemental. She turns lands into elementals. So, like, she fits. Maybe we don't want the negates. Negate would be something we bring in for sideboard plan, maybe. If I cut one more card out, if I cut one Lightning Strike, what if we cut one Omnath, right? If we leave the Lightning Strike, cut one Omnath, and just go to 2 Omnath. Or no, maybe we go 3 Creeping Trailblazers. Like, Creeping Trailblazers good, but if we go 3 Creeping Trailblazers, and then that gives us room for. See, we're not attacking with Chandra's Ember Cat though. And we're making. We can. Like, I just want Chart of Course. Like, this is the card I want. I want Chart of Course in the deck. I don't want 4 Chart of Course. 3 Chart of Course in the deck. Because I want a way to throw Multani in the graveyard, right? I want a way to throw something else in the graveyard to get more value out of my Thunderkin Awakener. So, and a Yoda lets us churn through. So, Area Elemental for the memes. Right? You don't think cutting Omnath would be good for us? Yeah, fair enough. I'll leave Omnath. There should be a Frost Links in the list. There should be a Frost Links in the list. Like, I don't necessarily like Ember or the Ember Cat. The Ember Cat's cool and all, but I don't necessarily like it. What, we don't get to play with the blue-red lands? We don't get to play with, like, Sulphur Falls and... I mean, I guess we're mainly green. We don't have a lot of use for red. Probably have to rethink the mana base here a little bit. We can work on that on stream tomorrow, though. Frost Links, huh? Frost Links is not a bad card. I'm going to leave Chandra's Ember Cat because I think we're going to need the help getting the double red to cast Chandra. That's some hot. She's hot. Giggity. Right. Some hot what? Fire? Yeah. Let's roll with this. Let's save this as our Teamer Elementals. It's at least stock. We can play with it tomorrow. Like we can adjust some stuff tomorrow if we want to. I mean, 21 2-drops. I'm down for that. I didn't set a tag. Oops. We'll say it's a mid-range deck. 21 2-drops is probably an aggro deck, but whatever. We've got more decks to pull. So, for those of you that... I'm going to continue pulling decks. I do need to get off stream for right now, though. It's time for me to share the bedroom here with my wife, right? She's knocked on the door, so it's like she's like, I'm gonna come to bed. So you need to quit. Sorry you've been MIA building a Rakdos deck. You literally just finished it. Okay. Send it to me and I'll pull it after the stream. For those of you that have been posting your decks over on the Sideboard MTG subreddit, I'm going to run over here really quick. We're going to talk about these, and I'll pull those. Some of them will make it, some of them will not. It's just how it goes. I think Madness's deck, I think it's the one we got. Yeah, here's my M20 decks. Let's have them. We've got 8 comments here. Nice. So we've got a ton of decks to pull. Some of these decks just won't get played. Hey Sideboard, have a big math lab tonight, so we'll most likely not be there for the deck reviews. Awesome, Sir Eccles. Sweet. Sir Eccles will try to join us tomorrow. Probably won't be around for a bit. Zaxadillo's doing his thing. Yep. Okay, so everybody's just basically saying I'm not going to be able to make it there. Then we got a couple decks by Dummy Nation. Chandra's Sacrifice. Alright, so check this out, guys. Alright, so Dummy Nation sends it here. Alright. This is probably a different deck here, right? Yeah, this is aggro. And then he names it down here. And then wait a minute. So this one's here, and this one brings up aggro heal stack, right? But he names it Chandra's Sacrifice under the aggro heals, and then this deck, which is the Chandra's Sacrifice, he names mid-range health wipe, which is your aggro heal stack. And then if we come back over here to just the Sideboard MTG subreddit, Dummy Nation shows us Chandra's Sacrifice again here. Just want to point out, like, this is what I got to deal with, guys. Like, trying to figure out, like, oh, wait a minute, I've already pulled this deck, or is this, what's the name of this? Calm down, we'll get it. We'll get it. I'm posting it here. I'm posting it there. I'm posting it again. Post it again. He'll get it. Post it again. Easy. Easy, my man. Easy. We'll get him. Alright, so let's check out the Chandra's Sacrifice deck here. Footlight Fiend, Mayhem Devil, Karn the Great Creator, Ugin the Ineffable, Shock, Aid the Fallen, Screw the Critics, Chandra, Leyline, Repeated Reverberation, and then we got the big Wakened Inferno. Alright, well, I'm interested in trying other Chandra decks, so. Oh, I didn't want to go to visual. I wanted to go here. Hope you guys have all enjoyed the behind the... It is easy to do. It's easy to do. I'm not worried about it. Let's go. Where's the Chandra aggro? So I've got to delete all these just so I can start pulling them again. It's called Chandras. There it is. I had to refresh. Hope you guys. I do hope you guys have enjoyed the behind the scenes, like all the things that have to be done in order to get ready for streams, pulling decks, like just everything. Rakdos Chandra. So it'll be pretty cool to go with like Chandra Acolyte of Flame and Mayhem Devil. Seems like that works really well together. We just keep making these elementals, and then at the end of turn we get to sacrifice them, and because we sacrifice them, Mayhem Devil will deal a couple points of damage. So that seems pretty good. This is like the worst ley line. I get you want to play it. And you know, it's cool like being able to have this like free spell. Like you just play this for free at the beginning of your hand, like or at the beginning of the game. When you or at least one permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, it's just gonna, you know, burn them a little bit. So that's not the worst thing in the world. I think Scare the Critics is a bad card though. Like the card's good in certain aspects, but it's normally just a little bit bad, right? Like, you don't have a lot of creatures that you're turning sideways and things like that. Yeah, I mean, you're turning some of these like elementals sideways and stuff, and maybe you're going to activate Scare the Critics that way. But this is really bad piece of burn if you need to clear the way before you're trying to get in with some of your creatures. Like, so if they've got something and you need to kill before, you know, you can swing with your Mayhem Devil or something like that, then Scare the Critics is actually just really overpriced. You'd be better off playing an instant speed Lightning Strike than a Scare the Critics. As far as Scare the Critics, or as far as spectacle cards go, I would rather see Light Up the Stage just to give us more card draw. That is going to be one of the things that you're going to see in this deck, is it will peter out. Like you just won't have a lot of, like, you're going to be able to get some creature cards back with Aid the Fallen. But again, that may not be enough, right? Like, I mean, you're going to be able to reuse some cards, but as far as like just drawing through your deck a little bit more, I'd rather see something along the lines of oh, I just said it. The other spectacle card. Doesn't matter. We'll play around with this deck. It looks like it's a pretty decent little budget deck. Bloodfell Caves and things like that. Interplanar Beacons, Lotus Field. I'm interested to play Lotus Field. I was curious why Lotus Field wasn't in the... Yeah, Light Up the Stage. Thank you, Madness. I appreciate it. Yeah, I would rather see Light Up the Stage instead of Aid the Fallen or Scare the Critics, but we'll play with it either way. We don't need the sideboard, so not a problem. Yeah, the deck's definitely a bit budget because of the Bloodfell Caves and things like that. Footlight Fiend and Mayhem Devil, huh? Sure. Alright, let's get back over Aggro Heals. Tulsamere. I am going to play around with a bit of a wolf deck. What's the big purpose here? Or is this... Like, I'm trying to find... Like, we're almost on this, like, wolf plan here with, like, the other wolves and werewolves get the +1/+1 and the ferocious pups and, you know, like, the wolfkin bond, you know, that sort of thing. But then we're also on this life gain thing, so, like, just by nature, this deck's, like, splitting its plan. Like, well, that's the plan, is to do two things. It's usually bad. Like, historically, that's bad. Yeah. That is also why you have repeat for the Ugin for the spirits and the Big Chandra for the second ability to kill the spirits, and the side is needed for the Karn. Okay. What? I should be happy. Almost put the blue ley line into the deck without blue mana, but you heard my voice in your head. Rush is like full tilt engage. That's basically the gist of it. I kind of like what you got going on here with the wolf plan. I think you just need to scrap the life gain, right? Scrap all the life gain and just be on the Tulsa Mirror and Night Pack Ambushers, and, you know, that sort of thing. I don't think this deck needs to be trying to do life gain, and I think you would have a better chance doing the wolf thing. You may need a little bit of life gain, but I don't think you need, like, root snares and Pulsa Marasa and, you know, Johnny's Welcome, like a Healer of the Glade. Like, these cards do nothing for the wolf strategy, and I think this deck would just need more wolves. So I'm just gonna kind of scrap this one. I really hate decks that are splitting focus, right? It became a pet peeve of mine back when Infect was in Standard, and you would have people play Infect decks that also would have cards in them where they were trying to do normal damage, and you would just see them like get like 7 Infect counters on you. You kill their Infect creature, and their next creature that comes off the top doesn't have Infect, and they play it, and then they end up doing like 7 or 8 more points of damage to you with that, and it was like, ah. So yeah, that was always a pain. Yes, the Just Sky R deck, we did go over it, and it looked pretty sweet. I ended up just keeping it as pretty close to as is, I think. Good night, Rush. For those of you that are bouncing out, I am going to be bouncing out as well. Like, again, I'm getting knocks on my door. I'm going to have to go soon. But yeah, we've got... let me go through here and make sure there's not another deck I need to pull. Sultai Pan Man. Alright, so we got to have that. Sultai Pan Man. Oh, of course, some mono-white depression. Yeah, we've got to have some mono-white depression. And then Sir Eccles, we've got Dummy Nations deck, one of the 2 decks anyway. Dummy Nation, we're probably going to have a lot of fun with one of your decks there, man. Yeah, sorry about the other one. I just really hate when decks like split their focus like that. Like, you can normally do one thing much better than you can do 2 things half-assed, right? So, Depression Part 7? Hey, he's bringing back Settle the Wreckage. What a thing. Oh my god. Prison Realm. Rule of Law. Ixalan's Binding. So, Rule of Law And cards like Prison Realm and Ixalan's Binding and Seal Away are absolutely terrific because you only need to answer one problem per turn, and that can just, oh my god, we're going to just kill people. Embodiment of Agony's deck. I don't know which embodiments of Agony's deck I pulled, but there was one that I really liked, and we kept it. So that one might be yours. God, madness. Or Zaxdillo. This deck's gonna be mean. Well, this deck's gonna make people hate life. Like, mono white enchantment was the Golgari deck. Was that like the Golgari deck that? Yeah, that was a Golgari like graveyard deck. There's a card in there I wasn't really fond of that was Dev's spoiler, like the Gorging Vulture. I'm not really fond of it, but we ended up leaving it. It may be the effect we need. So, oh no, it's cool. It was an idea. You really love the Chandra Sacrifice deck, and it's going to be so much fun. Thank you for the what? Oh, for the review, and yeah, like just focus in on the wolf part, and you're probably gonna have a lot more fun. You got some cards like fight cards that are gonna be really good. You're gonna have wolves like with Tulsamir. You're gonna have wolves fighting each other. And if you do get away from the wolves at all, entertain the idea of a Tristani in your wolf deck if you are going to stay in green-white. But your wolves don't actually have to stay green-white. You could even go tricolored, but I think you're going to be better off being in green-white. Of course, for Tulsamir, and if you do stay there, like you can get an Anthem effect alpha Tristani. So, all right, what am I missing here? Karn, treasure map, 18 planes. What am I missing? Memorial to Glory, Field of Ruin. All of the new cards? That's what we're missing. We're missing all of the new cards. See, this is why I hadn't been doing it that way. Because, alright, so the way I need to do this is I need to go download. And then show in folder. We don't have any splits. Copy. Back over here. Import. Ah, shit. Now I've got 92 cards in it. Yeah, I've butchered everything with the mono white depression. Now I'm going to be depressed. Alright. So let's just delete it. Import. Paste. Don't forget to put the extra space. What else am I forgetting? Come on, chat. Mono white depression. Come on. 75 cards. Let's do this. 15 in the side, 60 in the main. We've done it. We've done it, chat. If we get a rule of law down, this deck's gonna break people's heart. It's already doing its job, right? Mid-range, control. Yes, it is control. Alright, so we can close that out. What is this Pan 2 Electric Boogaloo? What is this? This is your Sultai deck? Alright, Fibblethep the Lost. Where's the new cards? How many elementals we got? That's not an elemental. That's not an elemental. Not an elemental. No elemental. No, that's an elemental. No elemental. No elemental. Not an elemental. Yeah, Yark's an elemental. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability. Okay, so we get to double. Oh my god. So we need like Sultai elementals. Or Risen Reef. What can we do there? Sultai elementals with Risen Reef? You got me thinking for sure. We'll have to try this and just see how well it works. I would like to see like side by side, like Explorer versus like Risen Reef, whatever that Explorer is going to be. Can you imagine if multiple cards had this ability on them? So stupid. So stupid. It's also pretty cool that we get to scry and like set up our next next card for the Risen Reef. So, all right, so let's download that, and we'll call it Sultai Elementals instead of Pan 2 Electric Boogaloo. Whatever. Pan 2 Electric Boogaloo. What is a Boogaloo? Is that a dance? It's probably something I shouldn't be saying on stream, isn't it? You guys probably just got me. You got me to say something. I don't even know. It's funny though. It's a funny word, whatever the hell it means. Alright, so let's jump over here. Import. No split cards. No split cards. Alright, so I'm just gonna call it Sultai Elementals. Yeah, I get Yarick is Panharmonicon. What's not legendary? You always build a control deck, Zax. What are you talking about? What's not legendary? Jank. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not legendary. Oh, build around Yark however I want. When I first seen Yark, I thought it would be good. No. I meant the way Explore is on multiple cards, right? Like how you've got Merfolk Branchwalker that says Explore, you've got Jadelight Ranger that says Explore. Imagine if they just like keyworded Risen Reef's ability, kind of like Explore, only Conquer. Yeah, it said Conquer. Instead of exploring an area, you were going to go conquer an area. You were either going to take the land or take the card. You're conquering. Imagine you had as many cards that have Explore written on them that said Conquer, and when like you got to do that effect. Just think about that. That's what I meant by it. I don't mean Risen Reef in general. I just mean, like that would be I've named this ability, by the way. This is Conquer. Alright. Just, yeah. Coiling Oracle has that exact text. Really? Okay. Yes, Justin Clay, I think tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun, man. We're not going to get started till about 10 or 11 Central Time. Because again, I have to get all these decks. I have to get them pulled up on Arena. We don't even get to start. Like, I don't even get to log in until the event starts. So we'll get everything. We get it pulled up on Arena. Once we get everything pulled up on Arena, we can kind of go from there. I may go live and like we pull everything while I'm live, but it's really hard to do anything and like focus any like real work and have you guys around, because I want to talk to you guys, because you guys are pretty cool, right? Kinda. We'll go with that. Anyway, so I ended up like talking to you guys and don't get any work done, but whatever. We did get through all these decks tonight, which was pretty sweet. So, let's see what else we got. So we've got all of these. We got Dominations decks. All right, let's go. Let's go back a post. We got no brews on that. Self-mill. Alright, so here's the self-mill deck. It's an Aether Hub deck. And then what else we got? This is Madness's Mono Black Burn. He already sent that to me though, so we're good there. Wall of Lost Thoughts. So we're self-milling ourselves. See, I like this. I don't mind this. So if I'm gonna self-mill so that I can like just slap something back onto the battlefield that's just broken, like we're gonna get back something like a huge embodiment of agonies, or we're gonna get back a Plocka Worm. Necrotic Wound's probably pretty great right here. I think that this deck could have more. Aid the Fallen wants to be such a good card, but it's just not. Like, the card's okay, but it's not as good as I want it to be. Like, 4 Aid the Fallens feel like they should be something else. Alright, well, we'll get this one pulled over, because I actually don't, this deck looks pretty sweet, actually. Sultan, self-mill. Like, the Narcomoeba thing's pretty decent. Like, why didn't you run Creeping Chill if we're gonna go this far, right? Like, we're gonna go this far to, like, just mill the heck out of ourselves. Why don't we just go Creeping Chill in the whole 9 yards? Like, we're not gonna mill ourselves all the way down to make use out of Jace, but it could happen. Like, our opponent can just keep killing stuff. It could happen. I don't know. This deck's pretty interesting. I'm naming it Jank, though. It's definitely a Jank deck. You just posted the Wolf deck for me and did it right this time. I don't know if you could build a Wolf deck and it be right, but I get what you're saying, and thanks. Getting him back via It's the Grave, right? No Gorging Vulture. The card's not good, man. Like, why would you pay 3 mana for that effect when you can get that effect for 1 mana or 2 mana? Right? Like, this is an appropriate cost for putting cards in the graveyard. 3 mana is not. And 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer doesn't impress me either. Like, If there's an effect, if there's a point where I need that effect that bad, then maybe. For a flying 2/2, 3 mana for a flying 2/2, you're still not impressing me. Now you're flinging a flying 2/2. That doesn't impress me. I'm teasing. The card's not good. We're gonna play it in one of the decks tomorrow, but the card's not good. It's too high of a cost for an effect that we can get cheaper. Now, after we lose Glowspore Shaman, Stitcher Supplier, things like that, then maybe we're forced to pay that much for that effect. But I don't think we're forced. I don't think I don't think our hand is forced yet. So, yeah. Plus, if you can sack Stitcher Supplier for blood and bones, you get extra value, right? Yeah. I agree. The only card I don't like here is 4 copies of Aid the Fallen. I think that Aid the Fallen could probably be something else. Necrotic Wound actually feels great, right? Necrotic Wound feels really good here. I actually like the Glowspore Shaman being able to like dump some cards into my graveyard and then being able to put a land back on top is actually more relevant than yeah. Oh, Glowspore gets to stick around too, doesn't it? Yeah, so we're going to get to keep Glowspore. Alright, so Stitcher Supplier will rotate, so we'll lose Stitcher Supplier, so we'll have Glowspore and Gorger for a little while, so yeah, we will have to like slow things down a little bit, because Stitcher Supplier's great. It's a great card. Like this is the perfect price for the effect, right? Like this is good. Wall of Lost Thoughts, we can pay 2 mana to dump 4 cards into our graveyard. Again, cheaper, but now we're not aggressive. We're not trying to be aggressive, considering we're trying to set up a graveyard mechanics thing. If throwing cards into our graveyard is important, then the body of the card that throws things into our graveyard is not important in most cases. Does that make sense? Right? Like, if we're throwing stuff in the graveyard, then we're probably going to throw something in the graveyard that is important, like a 7/7 that gives us 7 life and draws a card when it dies. Like, moving on. I don't know if I like Narcomoeba here, but yeah, that's why I just mentioned like the Creeping Chill thing. Embodiment of Agonies, though, this card's gonna be good. This card's gonna be good. So yeah, we'll just save this and go from there. Let's jump back over one more time. What happened? Do we get the wolves? Where's the wolves? Oh, we gotta throw some karma out too. Yeah. We gotta throw a little karma out for you guys who posted decks. I already threw a bunch of karma out. I was using this earlier to see the decks that I'd pulled. The ones I'd upvoted were decks I'd pulled. So, all right, throw a little love out of you guys. All right, so where's my wolf deck? I'm not seeing them there wolves. Oh, in the event tab you posted. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So it's not on that one. Oh, here we go. Pack tokens. There we go. Some pack fresh tokens. Alright, so we got Orange Wolf. Tulsimere, Friend of Wolves, Johnny the Greathearted. Alright, putting all those +1/1 counters. We got some Samet, giving them all. Haste seems okay. Arlen's alright. She creates wolves. You can probably deal without the Root Snare. Like, you probably don't need Root Snare and Pulse of Marasa. Like, these could just be something else that would like removal would probably fit here. Yeah, I think you probably want removal here. Like I don't think that you even care about Root Snare. If all goes well, you're going to be bigger and badder than everything else anyway. So, Pulse is interesting. Like, I get getting your cards back, replaying your cards is cool. But I don't think you need Root Snare at all. Prevent all combat damage would be dealt this turn. I don't think this is the type of deck for that. I could be wrong, and just having a couple of these would be great if you're just getting overrun. Or it would allow you to be like, oh, you think I'm going to have to go into unfavorable blocks? Alright, well, I'm going to Root Snare, and now I don't have to block you at all. Kill you on the backswing. Like, maybe. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'll leave it just because of the potential it could have. Like, we're getting into this all-out, like, battle wolves versus, like, something like dinos or something. We've also got a dinos deck that'll be pulled up tomorrow that was sent to me. I'll have to pull that up off Facebook, though. That deck comes to us all the way from Australia. Wolves. Wolves. Alright. Again, found another spot to post. Yeah. Different spot. Alright, so this is definitely an aggro deck. Like, I would rather have, like, fight cards than Pulse of Marasa or Root Snare. At least not 4 and 4 here. Like, I'd rather have, like, something like Prey Upon or whatever one of the other fight cards are. So, phone's dying. Yeah, I'm out too, guys. Like, if I don't get off this stream, my wife's gonna kill me. So, yeah. She probably won't. She knows that I'm streaming, but whatever. So yeah, post your brews. Yeah, Rabid Bite. Rabid Bite's probably the card we're looking for right there. Let's just do that. I'm gonna leave 2 Root Snares. I'll even leave 2 Pulse of Marasa, but I want, like, this even feels like it's right. Rabid Bite. You know, because it's a wolf deck. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So that seems alright. Yeah. We'll save this and go from there. Everyone, we will have more decks than the ones you have seen tonight. We've got so much to play tomorrow. Plus, we've got to get some sealed in. We've got to get a little bit of draft in. It's going to be a long stream. Things are going to be done a little bit different tomorrow. I'm going to be cutting deck text out of some of these decks that I like a lot. We'll be doing recordings, things like that, midway through the videos. Or midway through the stream. So I'm going to be trying to cut videos out of this big, huge stream so that we can post those on the YouTube channel, which should help out our YouTube community. So yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. I hope everyone had a lot of fun. I know I had fun. We're going to have a ton of fun tomorrow, so don't forget to stop by and check us out. Be online pretty much all day tomorrow. So So check us out. I will be doing it in multiple segments like I have the past few times, where we'll go down for a little bit, we'll come back up. So no matter what time you decide to join us tomorrow, we should have something coming up either while you're watching or pretty soon. So sleep on one side tonight, it'll be tilted tomorrow. All right, we're gonna call it at that one. I hope everyone had a good night. We'll see you next time. For all of you that offer your support, either by brewing or monetarily, thank you all very much. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. If you want to join the fun, though, you can hit that join button. Help us out right here on YouTube Gaming. That's all I've got. That's it. See you next time.